Alright, let's start the stream just to make sure everything is loaded here first. Sure everything's working fine. Twitch. Hello? Are you working, Twitch? Do I have to refresh you? Okay, visually looks fine. Okay, visually sounds fine as well, so hello, people of the internet. It is I, Soul Dragon, here, back with more Fate Stay Night Remastered, where we have essentially officially begun the Grail War, as, based on this line, Saber has been summoned. And, yeah, that just happened 2 Fridays ago, because I had a wedding thing last weekend, so, yeah, without further ado, let us continue the story. Although, first, just to show off the flowchart here, yeah, that's a little bit of a spoiler image there, but yeah, we've made a fair few branching choices already, and I do intend to go back just to see what these other choices get. I'm pretty sure the broken-hearted Sakura there means that I've broken the Heavens Feel possibility, so that's good, because the Fate route, which is the only route I've never actually seen in full, is the one I want to do first. Saber, stop. I scream as loud as I can. Her blade stops cold. It's probably best for my sanity that I can't see her sword, though the tip of that invisible sword isn't wet with her opponent's blood. Just yet. There's the sound. Stop. I beg you, Saber. I glare at her as I speak. If I'm going to stop her, I need to prepare myself to give everything I've got to do so. Are you stopping me, Shiro? She's Archer's master. I must put an end to her, here and now. No, Saber has absolutely no intention of stopping. She only stopped because I told her to, but she still holds her sword at the ready. I'm telling you, wait! Keep calling me master, but I still don't understand what's going on. If you're going to address me that way, then wouldn't it be right to explain yourself first? ... Saber doesn't answer. She just stands there, staring at me. You're going about this wrong, Saber. I don't even know who you are. But I'll listen if you tell me, so please, don't do this. ... Saber is silent. No, Saber, you actually say the word Saber. It's not, none of those letters are silent there, Shiro. Gosh. She still holds her sword to her opponent and stares at me, her lips downturned in dissatisfaction. What do you mean, don't do this? Is this an expression of your idealistic beliefs that people should not needlessly harm each other? Don't needlessly harm another? Well, yeah, it's better to avoid conflict as much as possible, but I'm not so soft-hearted as to feel sorry for someone who's attacking me. So you are saying that nobody should take the life of another, even should they be an enemy, correct? I will not obey such an order. One's enemies must be defeated. If you still wish to stop me, then use your command spell to order me. I'm talking about you. A girl shouldn't go around swinging swords, especially if she's already hurt. Oh god, Shiro. No, Shiro. Wait, I don't even know if that's a sword to begin with. Anyways, you shouldn't be doing this. Good lord, Shiro, you are an idiot. In that moment, Saber's mouth falls open in stunned silence. I don't know how much time passes with her just standing there like that. So I'm wondering when Saber here is going to lower her sword. The person who'd fallen to the ground speaks up out of nowhere. Saber instinctively grips her sword. Give it up. I would never lower my sword in the face of an enemy. Even though your master is telling you to. Isn't that so? I didn't know servants, especially Sabers, defied their masters. Saber grits her teeth. But she lowers her sword, loosening her grip a bit. She must have put her sword away or something, because she seems suddenly much less hostile. Okay, so I can stand up now, right? See, I thought Shiro used a command seal to stop Saber. Maybe that's only in Unlimited Blade Works, though. Whoever it was that's been on the ground finally stands. They act brazen, even as they pat the dirt from their bottom. Wait a minute. That's... You're Tosaka? Yes, good evening, Emiya. Rin Tosaka replies with the biggest smile on her face. This is unbelievable. I don't know what to think anymore. The way she greets me so casually makes me question whether everything that happened was even real. Well, so you were the one who cast Magecraft earlier, which makes you a mage. Well, we're pretty much the same, so I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. Hearing her be so blunt about it makes me seem like an idiot here, like the idiot here. Anyway, let's talk inside. I bet you have no clue what's going on, right, Emiya? As she says that, she walks towards the entrance to my house. Wait, Tosaka, what the hell are you thinking? At that moment, when Tosaka turns around, her smile changed into something completely different. Don't be silly, I'm thinking about a lot of things, and that's why I'm offering to talk. Emiya, I know you're surprised by all the things that just happened, but sometimes you just have to accept certain things or you'll wind up dead. This, by the way, is one of those times. She glares at me, and I can see actual animosity in her eyes. I'm glad you understand. Now, let's get inside. Tosaka walks through the gate. She seems really pissed. Well, I don't blame her. Just a moment ago, she had a sword pointed at her, and she was about to die. But still, maybe it's my imagination, but I think the Tosaka at school and the one I see right now are completely different people. Yeah, she does put on that illusion, doesn't she? And this is just weird as hell. Rin Tosaka, the most popular girl in school, the girl I admire, is walking right in front of me. While a blonde girl named Saver, who calls herself a servant, is silently following behind me. The hallway feels like it's a different dimension. But I can't stay a coward forever. I may still be in training, but I'm still a mage. Tosaka, who is apparently a fellow mage, is as bold as brass, so I have to hold my ground or else I'll look stupid. Though I can't really think of anything all that significant here. Like Saber still following me. She keeps calling me master, and we form some sort of contract, which probably makes her some kind of familiar. I've heard of familiar as an assistant a mage uses. Most mages transfer a part of their own body into something else, then use it as their double, but typically they're small animals. Things like cats and dogs are just easier to control. Some mages do use humans, but to do that they need an incredible amount of magical energy to constantly feed into the human to control them. Doing that would require a mage to use over half their own magical energy just to sustain the familiar, though. So it's not exactly efficient. Familiars are supposed to be tools to help mages, which is why they usually use small animals who can be controlled with minimal effort, and so aren't any burden. You're retreading the same statement, Shiro. At least that's what I was taught. Is something the matter, Shiro? No, nothing. Saber obviously looks human, and she's clearly superior to her master, that is, me. I don't have enough magical energy to restrain someone, let alone magical circuits, to control familiars in the first place. Which means Saber is nothing like a familiar. She called herself a servant. I don't know what she is, but the man named Lancer and the man in red Tosaka has in tow are probably all the same. Which means Tosaka can also be called a master. I've already seen enough of her magecraft skills. I'm less than a fledgling, but based on what I've seen, Tosaka is probably worth 3 mages, though there's really not much sense comparing any mage to someone like me, who can only do strengthening. What's clear is that Rin Tosaka is an exceptional mage. In spiritually strong lands, there are mage families which oversee a given area. The Emiya family came during Kiritsugu's generation, so our family is essentially outsiders. That's why I didn't know Tosaka came from a family of mages, and I don't think Tosaka knew I came from one either. There are several mages in this town that I don't know about. If that Lancer guy is another mage's familiar too, that means I've got myself in the middle of some sort of fight between mages. Well, this place is roomier than expected, and the Japanese style of this room is unique. Oh, Emiya, is this the sitting room? I should really just stop thinking for now. Now's the time to pay attention to what Tosaka has to say. I turn on the lights. It's already past 1 in the morning. And it's so cold in here. Hey, the windows are all broken. That's not my fault. That Lancer guy attacked me. I didn't really have time to worry about windows. I see. So you were fighting that guy all by yourself until you summoned Saber. I'd say it was more of a punching bag than an opponent, really. So you don't try to act tough. I see. So you really are exactly as I thought. I don't know what's so amusing to her, but Tosaka walks over to the broken... window. There it is. I skipped a bit. Tosaka picks up a broken piece of glass. She stares at it for a second. She cuts her fingertip and lets a single drop of blood fall onto the window. What kind of magecraft is that? That shattered window begins to reassemble itself, returning to its original undamaged state in mere seconds. What did you just do? Just a little demonstration. It's not really a fit thank you for saving me back there, but I figure I should at least be gracious. Well, I'm sure you could have fixed it without my help, since doing it this way is just a waste of magical energy. I know you could have just replaced the windows, but I'd rather not talk in the cold. Isn't there a hole in the roof, too, though? She says all of this like it's a normal thing. Her skills are just beyond my comprehension. That's amazing, Tosaka. I can't do anything like that. So I appreciate you fixing it. What? You can't do this? No, that can't be right. Handling glass is one of the most basic skills. Fixing broken glass is like an entrance exam for any school. As it now, I only know what my old man taught me, so I don't really know what you consider the basics. Tosaka stops abruptly. Crap, sounds like I said something I shouldn't have. Wait a minute, are you telling me you're not even a full-fledged mage with his own workshop to manage? I don't have a workshop. Well, actually, I have the shed I use for training, but I think calling that a workshop would just make Tosaka angrier. Hey, don't tell me. Do you not know how to handle the 5 great elements or make a magical path? I just nod. Well, that's terrifying. Beautiful as she is, she gets intense when she goes quiet. So you're what? A complete amateur? I exactly know. I can at least do some strengthening magecraft. Strengthen. Kind of a useless skill if you ask me. So you don't know anything else? Tosaka just stares at me. Honestly, probably not. Her stare is so intense I can't help but be vague in my answer. I just don't get how the likes of him wound up summoning Saber. She sighs, disappointed. I don't much care for that. It's not like I've been playing around here. Sure, I'm not a full-fledged mage, but that's not the issue here. Fine, what's done is done, so there's no sense complaining now. More importantly, I owe you and need to pay you back. Tosaka takes a breath. So let's begin. Let me start by asking, do you really not know anything about the position you're in here? I nod. I knew it. It was pretty obvious, but I just wanted to check. It'd be a waste of time if I explained all this to someone who knew everything, like a bit of extra mental flab. That was a really weird way to put that, but I feel like if I get smart with her, she'll smack me. Let me get straight to the point, Emiya. You've been selected as a master. You see those marks on your hand? They vary from person to person, but they're typically on the back of your hand or arm, and there should be 3 strokes of a command spells engraved there. They're the mark that proves you are a master. Back of my hand. Oh, you mean this? Right. Take good care of it, since those are spells that control servants. They're called command spells, and as long as you have them, you can give orders to your servant. What do you mean, as long as I have them? Command spells are absolute orders. You might have already figured out that servants have free will, but those engravings on your hand overrule their will and force them to obey. Get my tongue tangled. There's no need to chant any kind of incantation. They activate when you think about using them. But each time you use one, you'll lose a stroke, so try to keep yourself only using 2. Anyway, just be careful. I'm pretty sure you'll die the moment you run out of command spells. Oof. I'm gonna die. Masters defeating masters is pretty much how Holy Grail war goes, and the master who defeats the other 6 is rewarded with the Holy Grail. What? Hold on a second. I still don't understand what the hell Tosaka is saying. Masters defeating masters, and they're granted the Holy Grail, as in the Holy Grail, the Holy Grail? Still don't get it? Look, you've been basically dragged into a game called Fate's Day Night Remastered. It's called the Holy Grail War, and it's a battle between 7 masters. It's a fight between mages that won't end until only one master remains. Tosaka talks about this like it's the most normal thing in the world. Everything she says swirls around in my head. I was chosen as a master. Tosaka claims to be a master. Familiars called servants, and the Holy Grail War, a battle to the death between 7 mages. Okay, wait, what the hell are you talking about? I understand your confusion, but I'm only telling you the truth here. And I'm sure you understand deep down that you're in no position to run away from all this, since you've nearly been killed by a servant not once, but twice. ... That's true. That Lancer guy did nearly kill me. Alright, you weren't almost killed. You were killed. I'm impressed you managed to come back from that. Tosaka's comment is the final nail in the coffin. She's absolutely right. That guy killed me. I died. There was no chance for me to talk him out of it or try to convince him otherwise, and I was only left there to die. That's why me backing in this incomprehensible death match doesn't mean the others will do the same. Get it? Okay, I'm gonna tell you a bit more. I don't know why there's a Holy Grail in the first place, but what I do know is that every few decades, several masters are selected and they're given servants. I'm also one of the chosen masters. That's why I formed a contract with a servant, and the one you formed with Saber. And you formed one with Saber. Think of a servant as a familiar given to you by the Holy Grail to win the Holy Grail War. And as masters, we need to work with our servants to get rid of other masters. Tosaka explains things matter-of-factly, but feels totally unreal to me. But one thing she mentioned raises a question. But you said Saber's a familiar, but I don't think she is. Familiars are usually cats or birds. There are some folks who use ghosts, but Saber has a physical body. Plus, she doesn't look like a familiar to me. Glance over at Saber. She's been quiet the whole time. Saber looks completely human to me. I don't know who she is, but she looks to be about a girl the same age as me. Familiar? Well, servants might be in that category, but they're on a different level. See, that girl over there is a ghostliner, considered to be one of the strongest of all familiars. Now you're just throwing out words there, Rin. Ghostliner, so that means she really is a ghost? The spirit of a human, someone who died long ago. The residual thoughts of a person of exceptional ability who remains in the world even after death. But that doesn't make sense. Ghosts don't possess a physical body. Ghosts can only hurt other ghosts. So how could I, who possess a body, be killed by a spirit? A ghost, well, they are similar, but Saber will kill you if you keep thinking like that. I'm sure she will. Servants are incarnated heroes of the past, so they're kind of a spirit well beyond humans. Incarnated heroes of the past. That's right. Whether they're from history or the modern world, these spirits of dead legendary heroes are summoned and materialize here. Well, the role of the master is just to summon them, and the Holy Grail is what helps with the materialization. There is no way a mere mage can give spirits forms, so we need to rely on a powerful artifact. I'm sure there's some mages. Wait a minute, are you saying that a hero from the past is what? I look at Saber. So she was a hero of the past? Well, sure, nobody in the modern era dresses like her, but still. That's impossible. I've never heard of a magecraft like that. Shiro, you barely heard of any magecraft. Of course not. This isn't magecraft. Just think of it as a phenomenon brought by the Holy Grail. Otherwise, there's no way a soul could actually be recreated and actualized. Recreation of the soul. Does that mean these servants are different from phantoms? Nope. Once something, whether that be human, animal, or even a machinery, achieve something great, they are removed from the cycle of reincarnation and sublimated into something with a higher rank. Didn't you ever learn about that? That's what heroic spirits are. Animal or even a machinery. Voyager. Put another way, they're kind of pseudo-gods who who are all worshipped in some way or another. Seances, mediums, or other common magecraft that deals with spirits just borrow some of the spirit's power to perform miracles. But servants are heroic spirits themselves, used as familiars. That's why they typically accompany you in spirit form, but materialize when it's time to fight if needed. So they can switch between spirit form and being corporeal. I don't see your servant right now, so does that mean he's in spirit form right now? You said right now twice there, Emiya. No, he's healing his wound in my compound summoning circle right now. Remember, Saber wounded him earlier. If I had made him withdraw even a heartbeat later, that blow would have annihilated him. Listen, only servants in spirit form can defeat other servants in spirit form. We can attack them when they're materialized, so we might be able to defeat them like that. Good one, Rin. Good one. But you've noticed all the servants are monstrously strong, right? That's why we should leave the monsters to deal with the monsters, while masters hang back and serve as support. Tosaka's explanation ticks me off. I don't know what other servants are like, but calling servants monsters doesn't feel like a fair description of Saber. Anyway, humans who become masters use their summoned servant to defeat the other masters. Sorry about that. Did you at least get that much? In theory, yeah, but I'm still not convinced. Oh, Shiro. First of all, what kind of sick mind thought to do this in the first place? That I don't know, nor can I answer even if I did. That sort of question should go to the person overseeing the Holy Grail War. The only thing I can tell you is that you really don't have a choice but to fight, and to use your servant well because they're powerful. As Tosaka says this, she turns to Saber. Saber, after talking to Emiya, it looks like you're not in complete form. You're incomplete since you were summoned by an apprentice mage who has no idea what it means to be a master. Yes, you are correct that I'm not in my complete form. Shiro doesn't have enough magical energy to fully materialize me, which means reverting to my spirit form and replenishing magical energy are difficult. I'm surprised. Your situation's worse than I expected, and I didn't think you'd be so honest with me about it. I was actually just subtly trying to find out your weakness. I'm reluctant to reveal my weakness to an enemy, but I also don't think I can deceive you. There is no point in hiding our situation from you. As such, we're better off if you know our circumstances and give Shiro a better understanding of the situation. Exactly. How insightful of you. I can't believe it. If only I was Saber's master, I would have had a good as won this thing. Tosaka, are you saying I'm not fit to be her master? Essentially, yes. Obviously not, you freaking sham. Well, anyone with a heart might have softened that blow a bit. What? Do you have more questions? But she doesn't realize how hurtful her words are. Poor Shiro, he's hurt his feelings. The image of her is a perfect honor student at slowly crumbles. And you say what you're right about her. She's fiendishly relentless. Okay, now that we're at a good spot, let's get going. Tosaka announces this curtly, but it's kind of weird. What? Go where? I told you, we're going to see the guy who knows all about the game. The Holy Grail War you got roped into. You want to know why it happens, right? Shiro does want to know. Of course, but where are we going to go? It's already late, and if it's too far... It's fine, he's just the next town over, so he can get back home before dawn. Plus tomorrow's Sunday, so it doesn't matter if we're up late. Fair. That's not the issue here. What's the issue then, Shiro? So much has happened today, and I'm utterly exhausted. I just want to rest and organize my thoughts. What, you don't want to go? Fine by me. But what about you, Saber? For some reason, Tosaka's asking for Saber's opinion. Wait, Saber's got nothing to do with this. Don't push her. You're already acting like a master, are we? You don't like me talking to Saber? That's not it. It's just that even if you said something about this whole thing is true, then that would mean Saber's a hero from the past. It means she wouldn't know anything about the modern era. That's why... Shiro, you're incorrect. Servants can adapt to any time as long as they are summoned in a human world. so I'm very aware of this age. Plus, she was here like a decade ago, so... Yeah, you are her, really? Of course, this is not the first time I've been summoned to this age. Hey, reference! What? Seriously, what are the odds? Hey, Tosaka's surprised too. That must mean what Saber said is somewhat unusual. Shiro, I agree with her. You lack knowledge as a master, and as your contracted servant, I would prefer you be stronger. Wow, Saber being hurtful. Saber silently stares at me. The look on her face tells me she's saying this for my sake, not for her own safety. Fine, I guess I have to go, don't I? So where is the place, Tosaka? We can still get back from here from there, right? Well, of course we can. Our destination is the Kotomene Church, just in the next town. That's where the Shan priest, the one who oversees the whole battle, resides. Tosaka flashes a mischievous grin. It's the look of someone who enjoys teasing me since I have no clue what's going on. At least that's what I think. I'm starting to believe Tosaka has a really nasty side. Really? I'm sure Issei will be pleased to hear that you're in agreement with him. We walk through the town at night. It's 1 in the morning and there's nobody out at this hour. The houses are dark and the sleepy town is cast only in the streetlight's pale glow. Hey Tosaka, are you planning on walking to the next town? Of course, trains and buses aren't running right now. Sometimes a nighttime stroll's kinda nice. Fair. Okay, but I just want to make sure. Do you know how long that walk will take? About an hour, right? If it gets too late, we can just grab a taxi on our way back. I don't have that kind of money, and my point is more about whether it's safe for a girl to walk around at this hour. You know it's been dangerous recently. I don't want to be responsible for if something happens to you. Oh, Shiro. Don't worry, nobody's gonna mess with us. Might have forgotten, but Saber here is really strong. Yeah. Oh. Now that she mentions it, if anyone picks a fight with Saber, they're dead for sure. Rain, what did Shiro mean by what he said earlier? I'm not... Okay, hold on. Okay, hang on, I'll stop the on mode. That's so awkward looking. Oh, that's hilarious looking. It's so unfitting. It's just like a giant yellow blob. That is such a thing to stick out. That's like painting a big, I'm doing something suspicious sign right on my back. Like, seriously, you could have gone with a better disguise. Ah. Oh, it's good. It's good. He really misunderstood the situation. Also, he's an idiot. He was right. He was trying to say he'd swoop in to rescue us if someone assaulted us. That can't be right. Shrew is my master. Our rules would be reversed if he did that. Yeah, he's probably not thinking about anything like that. Like, he doesn't care about what mages and servants are. Honestly, I like to see what's going on in his head. I don't think you actually see Unlimited Blade Works, do you, Ren? Tosaka and Saber seem to be on good enough terms to chat now. Saber's been quiet ever since I stopped her from leaving the house. As she was. She flatly refused to take off her armor, so I made her wear a raincoat, and she's been quiet ever since. Now she's just following me and only speaks to Tosaka. Where are you going, Yamiya? That's the wrong way. We need to go to the bridge, right? Shortcut. Feel a little awkward walking right beside her, so I walk a little faster and take a side path. We enter our park along the riverside. All you need to do is cross the bridge to reach Shinto. I didn't know there was a path here. I see, so we just head to the park since the bridge is accessible from the park too. Maybe it's the park at night. Tosaka, as she's stands there staring at the bridge, looks prettier than when I see her at school. This isn't good. Let's just go. We didn't come here to goof off. I'm remind Tosaka to hurry, and start climbing the stairs. Once we reach the road at the side of the bridge, it's just a straight shot into Shinto. Man, the idea that a town is so short walk. There's nobody on this bridge. Not surprising, since this bridge isn't exactly busy even during the day. People tend to take the bus or train to get to the next town, so the pedestrian bridge doesn't see much use. It's a pretty good distance, and the bridge itself seems a little unsteady, so people might worry it could collapse at any time. Probably why this isn't a very popular spot for dates, even though the location and ambiance are perfect. What's in your head, Shiro? Stop thinking about such stupid crap. Saber follows silently while Rin walks beside me. I hurry across the bridge as fast as I can and try not to think too much about the two girls with me. Once we cross the bridge, Tosaka leads us to the suburbs. The office buildings near the station only come to mind when I think of Shinto, but there's still a traditional townscape on the outlands. The suburbs are especially prominent in that sense. There are gentle slopes on a hill that overlooks the ocean. The further up the hill you go, the fewer buildings there are, and there's even a foreigner cemetery built along the hillside. The church is at the top of the hill. Have you never been? Nope, never. Though I do know it used to be an orphanage. It still is. I see. If this is your first time, you might want to brace yourself. The church's priest isn't exactly the easiest man to deal with. I look up to see a shadow that must be a building on top of the hill. A church atop a hill. I never imagined a circumstance like this is what would bring me to God's house. Excuse me. Oh, this is amazing. The church is magnificent. The whole hilltop seems to be the church grounds, and I'm greeted by a huge open space the moment I reach the top of the hill. The church on the other side of the vast open space isn't that big, but seems to loom over everything, intimidating any visitors. Shiro, I will stay behind. Why? We came all this way. I can't just leave you here. My purpose was not to visit the church, but to protect you along the way. If your destination is the church, then you will not stray far from it, so I will wait here for your return. Saber is frank in her response. I can't see her budging on this point, so I decide to respect her decision. Good on you, Shiro. Respect! Alright, then I'll be back. Yes, and do not let your guard down, no matter who you are dealing with, Master. So much would be averted if Saber went with him, because she would have recognized Kotomene. The chapel is large and majestic. It must see many visitors during the day based on the number of pews in the chapel. The priest must have incredible authority if he's responsible for a church as grand as this one. Tosaka, what kind of man is the priest here? It's kind of hard to explain. I've known him for over a decade now, but I still can't figure him out. He's literally a heartless. Known him for over a decade. That's a long time to know someone. Are you two related or something? No, but he's my guardian. On top of that, as a disciple, he's my senior. And my second mentor. Senior disciple? As a mage? Yeah, why is it such a surprise? He's a priest, right? Aren't priests forbidden from using magecraft? Mages and churches have never mixed well. Mages belong to Lord... False, they do not only belong to the Mage Association. There's also a hidden group operating in the shadows of the most widespread religion. Not one no more people would ever heard or want to get involved with, known as the Holy Church. The two have nothing in common. They may have a sort of service alliance, but they're constantly trying to kill each other given half the chance. The Church loathes heretics. They're out to eliminate anything inhuman in the world, which includes users of magecraft. In the Church's eyes, only saints are permitted to perform miracles. All their human miracles are heresy. There's no exceptions, even for those within the Church. The higher the position one is within the Church, the more they are forbidden from the impurity of magecraft. It goes without saying that the more blessings someone receives from God, especially someone in charge of a church like this, the further distance they should take for magecraft. Actually, I don't know the priest here was on our side. Didn't know. The priest here was on our side. Yep, he's the one supervising the Holy Grail War, so he's definitely an agent. Well, whether he's actually ever received any blessings from God is an open question. Probably not. Tosaka's footsteps echoes as she walks towards the altar. I'm not sure what you're supposed to be walking around here without a priest, but it's pretty late. Priest wouldn't be in the chapel at this hour. I guess he'd be in his private room out back. So what's the priest's name? I think he said Kotomene or something earlier. His name is Kirei Kotomene. He's my father's disciple, and unfortunately, I've known him for over 10 years. If I had any choice, I'd rather have not ever met him. assure you the feeling is mutual. I never wish for a pupil who refuses to respect her mentor. Tap, tap. I hear footsteps. A man slowly emerges from the far side of the altar. He must have noticed when we entered the chapel. I've been calling you Rin, but you haven't answered. Now you bring me a strange guest. So he's the 7th Rin. I love how Kirei is just off the screen with the top of his head. Right, he's a mage apparently, but he's a complete amateur. It's frustrating as hell. And the rules say to report here once someone becomes a master, right? It's a stupid rule your group made up, but I figured I'd follow it this time. Ooh. How commendable of you. Well, I must thank this young man. Well then, I must thank this young man. Yeah, missed a word there. The priest slowly looks me over. Dot dot dot. I unconsciously step back. I'm not afraid, but I don't sense any hostility from I don't sense any hostility from this priest. The way he carries himself, he just gives off this indescribable aura of intimidation. My name is Kirei Kotomene, and I've been entrusted to run this church. What is your name, 7th Master? It's Shiro Emiya, but I don't remember signing up to be a master. I brace myself, glaring at the priest so as to not buckle under that intimidating presence. Shiro Emiya. That intimidating aura grows chilly. The priest smiles as if pleased. That smile of his. Can't explain it, but it makes me... I must thank you, Emiya. You brought Rin here. If it wasn't for you, she would have never set foot in this church. Probably the truth. The priest makes his way to the altar. Tosaka, on the other hand, just looks bored as she moves away from the altar and comes to stand next to me. Then let us begin. Shiro Emiya, you are Saber's master, correct? That's not entirely true. I did form a contract with Saber, but I have no idea what the hell Masters and Holy Grail Wars are. If proper mages are the only ones who can be masters, then you should pick a different master. I see. This is a pity. Does he really know nothing, Rin? I told you he's a complete novice. You'll need to teach him from the ground up. You're good at pushing people like that, aren't you? Tosaka practically pawns me off onto the priest, still looking bored. Oh, I see. So that's your plan. Very well, this is the first time you've depended on me for anything. It seems I cannot thank Shiro Emiya enough for bringing me this opportunity. The more I hear them talk, the more uneasy I get. First, let me address some of your misconceptions. Listen to me, Shiro Emiya. The role of master isn't something you can simply pass on to someone else, nor is it something that, after you've been chosen, you can simply quit. Excuse me. Once command spells are engraved on one's hand, there's no means by which they can resign from being a master, regardless of who they might be. I can't quit. Why not? Command spells are sacred marks. They're a trial placed upon masters. You can't simply forfeit because it's inconvenient. You will not be released from its pain unless the Holy Grail is obtained. If you want to resign from being a master, the only thing you can do is obtain the Holy Grail and have your wish granted. Do this and everything can go back to normal for you, Shiro Emiya. Anything you desire, even ridding yourself of the impure mud within you, is possible. Why, even starting over entirely is possible. And so you should desire it. Should the time come, you will be grateful for your luck in being chosen as a master. If you wish to be rid of those inhuman burn scars you have, you simply have to accept that sacred mark. How does he know? I feel faint. Priest's words don't make any sense. The more I listen, the more I'm confused. Yet his words permeate in my mind, staining me like blood. Kirei, don't be so obtuse. I just asked you to explain the rules to him. I never asked you to open up old wounds. Her voice interrupts the priest's words. Tosaka! My confused mind snaps back to reality. Oop, there goes gravity. I believe nothing else would sink in for someone like him, so I thought it would at least break down his morality. While he was stuck, break down his morality. Oh, Kirei. Well, I suppose kindness isn't always entirely for the benefit of the recipient. I must admit, I did enjoy that. Quite a lot. What? Does helping him do you any good? Well, of course. Helping people means saving yourself in the end. I suppose there's not much sense in me lecturing you about that, though. Ooh, burn. Let me return to the matter at hand, Shiro Emiya. You find yourself in what is involved in what is known as a Holy Grail War. It's a battle waged using 7 servants commanded by 7 masters. I hope Rin would have at least told you that. Yeah, she did. She told me about the whole ridiculous thing where 7 masters participate in a battle to the death. Correct. But we are not indulging in such cruelty for entertainment. It is a ritual to determine who is worthy of obtaining the Holy Grail. For such a powerful item as that, rigorous trials must be conducted to determine who should possess it. Hell with trials. I bet this priest doesn't think of the Holy Grail War as a trial at all. Wait, you keep saying Holy Grail. What is that? What even is that? You don't mean the actual Holy Grail, right? The Holy Grail. A goblet said to have received the blood of a saint. It's considered to be one of the greatest sacred relics of all time. It is said to perform a variety of miracles. One of the most widely held beliefs is that whoever holds the Holy Grail can possess the entire world. But that seems kinda unlikely since the Holy Grail itself probably doesn't even exist. False. Stories of Holy Grail that can grant any wish appear in numerous myths and legends around the world, but that's about it. A mythical power none claim have ever actually existed or been replicated. That is the Holy Grail. So what is it, Kirei? Is the Holy Grail you speak of really the Holy Grail? Of course it is. The Holy Grail that appears in this town is real. If you want proof, the appearance of servants themselves is a miracle, isn't it? Summoning heroic spirits from this past and utilizing them, it is a miracle close enough to resurrection of the dead that it could be considered magic. The Holy Grail of such power must in turn grant its owner limitless power. When considering the truth of how powerful it is, authenticity hardly matters. So what he's saying is that as long as the object possesses power that surpasses the real thing, it doesn't matter whether it's real or fake. Fine, let's assume it really is a Holy Grail. Why would something like the Holy Grail War even need to happen? If the Holy Grail exists, we shouldn't be killing each other over it. Something so amazing should be shared. My tongue is getting tied again. A reasonable opinion, however, not an option we have the luxury of. Only one can obtain the Holy Grail. We can ourselves choose who. That is for the Grail to decide. The selection of the 7 masters and the summoning of 7 servants are all determined by the Holy Grail itself. I mentioned that this was a ritual. The Holy Grail selects those who are worthy of possessing it, and then against each other to select the soul bearer, and then against each other. That's weird. That is what a Holy Grail War is. A sort of necromantic ritual where those chosen by the Holy Grail to fight to the death to obtain it. He's so matter-of-fact about it. I have no response, so I just stare at my left hand. There's an inscription on my hand, a mark that these two call a command spell. As long as I have this mark, I'm told I can't quit being a master. That still doesn't make sense. Just because only one person can be selected, there's no reason for all the other masters to die. Fair. Wait a minute. You don't actually have to kill them, Emiya. The ritual doesn't require you to kill the masters. Huh? But you said it's a battle to the death. Even Kotomene said that. You do kill each other. Kirei, shush. Okay, so the Holy Grail here is in spirit form. It's not tangible as an object. It needs to be summoned as a special ritual. Kind of like a seance. Summoning it can be done by just us mages, but as long as it's in spirit form, we can't touch it. Do you understand what that means? I do. Only spirit forms can touch other spirit forms. Oh, so that's why you need servants. Exactly. To put it in simpler terms, the goal of the Holy Grail War is for you to eliminate all their servants other than your own. There's no rule you actually have to kill masters. Why didn't they tell me that earlier? Honestly, Tosak and that priest are both pretty wicked. But that's a relief. It means Tosak won't have to die even if I do join the Holy Grail War. I suppose that is one way of look about it. Then let me ask you, Shiro Emiya, do you think you can beat your own servant? Defeat Saber? Well, of course not. Besides, Maidcraft is useless against her, and she's insanely strong with her sword. Then one question for you, though it may be a trifling one. Do you think yourself superior to your servant? He just kind of self-roasted himself. What? Why the hell is he asking this? I can't beat Saber, so there's no way I'm better than her. My answer to both those questions is that I'm weaker than my servant. Oh. Now you get it. Servants have enough trouble defeating other servants. So what could you do? It's simple, really. A servant cannot exist without their master. No matter how powerful the servant, they will disappear once the master is killed. Which means... No, I get it. Nobody would make things harder for themselves. If someone wanted to make sure they won, killing the master would be the much easier path. I get it now. It's easier to defeat the master than the servant. Let me ask you this then. If the servant is defeated first, is their master no longer a master? If servants are the only ones who can touch the Holy Grail, then a master who lost their servant becomes obsolete, right? No, as long as the command spell remains, they still have the right to remain a master. A master is simply a mage who can make a contract with a servant. As long as they have a command spell, they can form contracts with as many servants as they want. A servant who loses their master does not disappear immediately. They can remain in this world until they run out of magical energy. Servants who lose their masters and masters who lose their servants can forge a new contract together and return to the battle. Fair? Which is why masters seek to kill other masters. Allowing others to live may pose a greater risk later on. Then what if you use up your command spells? That means you can't form another contract with another servant, and the servant who gets freed will pair up with another master. Fair logic. Wait, that's... You're correct. If you use up all your command spells, you will be freed from your duties as a master. Although it's hard to believe any mage would waste their command spells, since each can perform extremely powerful magecraft. And were there to be such a master, they would be a fool as well as a coward. Ooh. The priest laughs as if he can see right through me. I was about to say he sees right through you, Shiro. This is starting to get to me. The priest's tone is provoking. Do you understand now? Then here endeth the lesson. Now let us return to where we began, Shiro Emiya. You mentioned that you had no intention of becoming a master. Do you still feel that way? If you want to forfeit your position as master, that is fine, too. As you have just pointed out, you can use up your command spells to terminate your contract with Saber. Should you do so, I will guarantee your safety until the Holy Grail War ends. Wait, hold on a minute. Why the hell would you need to guarantee my safety? I can protect myself. I honestly do not have the time to look after you, but those are the rules. Rules are important. I've been assigned to oversee this repeating Holy Grail War. Thus, I must ensure the sacrifices made during the Holy Grail War be kept to a minimum. Protecting the safety of the mages who are no longer masters is one of my most important responsibilities as the Overseer. Did you say repeating Holy Grail War? Hold on a minute. It repeats. Does that mean a battle like this has happened before? I'm pretty sure Rin has said that. What the hell do you mean? Are you saying this isn't the first Holy Grail War? Of course not. Do you think an Overseer would have been dispatched here for this first time? Were this the first time? Yeah. This church is a special agency responsible for collecting relics. Our true organization's original goal is to investigate and recover the true cross, but our duty is to assess the Holy Grail. Our job is to investigate the 726 Holy Grail that was just detected in the Far East and recover it If it is indeed real, and it is not real, we will repudiate it. 726? Are there really that many Holy Grails? Shiro, you have no idea. Who knows? At the very least, there are that many objects thought to be Holy Grails. That explains why FGO has so many. And one of those is the Holy Grail observed in this town, which triggered a Holy Grail war. According to the extant records, the first battle occurred around 200 years ago. Since then, masters have fought over every 50 years or so. This will be the 5th Holy Grail War. The last one happened 10 years ago, so this one is the shortest cycle yet. Well, are you all insane? You guys have done this thing 4 times already? I don't think it's their choice, Shiro. I quite agree. As you pointed out, this is repeated many times. That's right. In the past, the repeated Holy Grail wars have been exceedingly fierce. Masters were driven by their own desires, so they killed each other indiscriminately, forgetting their disciplines as mages. You may already know this, but the biggest sin to commit as a mage is practicing magecraft within normal society. Mages must never reveal their identities to others. But the Masters of the past broke that law. The Mage Association finally dispatched an overseer to crack down on the Masters like them, but that system was only put in place by the time of the 3rd Holy Grail War. And the first overseer was my father. Does that make sense now, my boy? Yeah, I get that an overseer is needed. But based on what you just said, this Holy Grail War is a fundamentally bad thing, right? Oh, in what way is it fundamentally bad? The previous masters willingly broke the law of mages, right? Then let's say the Holy Grail War is real. What if whoever survives and wins is selfish and uses the Holy Grail for their own selfish purposes? Wouldn't it be pretty bad if the Holy Grail went to someone who has no problems killing people? Hey, Kritzy, welcome to the stream, Hobby Things. It's been a while. Skipped a bit there. If the association's job is to supervise mages, shouldn't you be the one punishing those types of folks? I'm hoping to finally confuse him with this question. But as I figured, Kotomene just laughs condescendingly. Of course not. All mages are motivated by their self-interests. I'm only responsible for managing the rules of the Holy Grail War. I do not care what happens afterwards. The association does not intervene, no matter what sort of person obtains the Holy Grail. Well, that's absurd. What happens if the Holy Grail is obtained by a master who is absolutely the worst? Nobody cares! That'd be bad, but it's out of our control. The Holy Grail is the one that chooses its owner, and we do not have the power to stop a master who has been chosen by the Holy Grail. Plus, they will technically have a servant, and yeah, good luck stopping a servant. You see, it's a chalice capable of granting any desire. Whoever obtains it will be able to do as they please, I'm sure. So if that idea troubles you, then your path is clear. Survive and win. Doing this yourself would be the approach most certain to work, as opposed to relying on others, correct? Kotomene is clearly trying to suppress his laughter. I think he's enjoying watching my awkward resistance to becoming a master. What's wrong, my boy? I thought that was a rather good idea. Care to accept it? That's none of your business. First of all, I have no reason to fight. I'm not interested in the Holy Grail, nor do I feel like a master, even if you tell me otherwise. Oh, so you do not care what the winner of the Holy Grail War does with it, even if it may lead to a great catastrophe. Well, that... I can't argue. Damn, this guy's just so hard to deal with. He doesn't care about my feelings, and he's relentless with the information he pushes onto me. And if you have no reason to fight, then it's fine too. That must mean you do not care about what happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago? That's right, towards the end of the previous Holy Grail, an unworthy master touched the Grail. I do not know what the master desired. All we know is the disaster that followed. The fire. For a second, the image of that hell flashes before my eyes. Wait, don't tell me that. That's right. It's a catastrophe everyone in this town knows very well. 500 people were killed or wounded. 134 buildings burnt to the ground. That fire, which is still unexplained to this day, was a consequence of the Holy Grail War. I feel sick. My vision blurs. I lose my focus and I can't concentrate. My legs are about to buckle. Before that can happen, I plant my feet. I grit my teeth to maintain my composure. Raw, seething anger is the only thing holding my nausea at bay. Amiya, what's wrong? You're as white as a sheet. I know that wasn't a pleasant topic to bring up, but come on, why don't you rest for a bit? I must have really looked pale. I know it's rare for someone like Tosaka to be concerned about the likes of me. Don't worry, I feel better after seeing you looking at me so weird. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Nothing, exactly what I said, so don't worry about it. I guess that's okay. Hey, that's even worse, you blockhead! The school's honor student, Rin Tosaka, slaps me upside the head. And just like that, my nausea and anger disappear. Thanks. You really did me a favor, so don't bait me up too much, Tosaka. There's still a few things I have to ask. So much exposition. Something in her expression suggests she thinks she hasn't hit me enough, but she lets me continue anyway. Oh, you still have questions? By all means, out with it. I'm sure he knows exactly what I want to ask, but he urges me on anyway. Fine by me. I'm not letting him get the better of me. Let me ask you this. You said this is the 5th Holy Grail War, so has anyone ever obtained the Holy Grail? Of course, not every war ends with everyone dead. Then don't jump to any conclusions. Obtaining it is the easy part. After all, this church actually manages its in possession of the Holy Grail. If you're wondering whether someone has touched it, I'll have you know I touch it every day. What? The Holy Grail is here in the church. Well, it's just a vessel. It's quite empty. As Rin said earlier, the Holy Grail is in spirit form. The church is safe keeping a well-made replica of the Holy Grail. We use it as the catalyst to draw the real Holy Grail out and create the wish-granting device it becomes. I suppose it's similar to a master and servant relationship. And yes, that was indeed obtained by a man who obtained the Holy Grail, which temporarily turned real. So the Holy Grail was real. Okay, what happened to that guy who obtained it? Nothing. The Holy Grail never reached its complete form because a foolish man let his sentimentals get the better of him. Ah, he's talking about Kiritsugu. I don't know what happened to his overbearing attitude for a moment before, but the priest suddenly looks, of all things, regretful. What do you mean? Didn't the Holy Grail appear? Manifesting the Holy Grail is easy. 7 servants appear, and then sometime later the Holy Grail does as well. As Rin pointed out, there is no real need to kill other masters. But that's not enough to complete a Holy Grail. The Grail selects a worthy owner. For that reason, a man who had avoided battles was unable to obtain the Holy Grail. This means it's useless to obtain the Holy Grail without settling things with the other masters. The master who first got their hands on the Holy Grail during the last war was just a wuss. They didn't want to fight the other masters and just ran away from the Holy Grail. Man, revisionists. Tosaka almost spits the words, then goes back to averting her eyes from Kotomene. You're kidding. Does that mean Kotomene was one of the masters of the previous war, and even though he obtained the Grail, he dropped out because he refused to fight? Kotomene, you didn't fight. I did, halfway, but I made a bad decision. Consequently, I only obtained an empty Holy Grail. Right. I suppose that must have been my limit anyway. The rest of the masters were all monstrously strong, terrifying even. I immediately lost my servant and I was taken under my father's protection. In retrospect, the son of the overseer shouldn't become a master in the first place. Shouldn't have become a master in the first place. It led to my father's death. After that, I assumed his role as overseer and I've been protecting the Holy Grail at this church. Kotomene turns his back to me as he speaks. There is reverence in his voice, and I see the devotion in his eyes before he turns. We have nothing further to discuss. Those qualified to obtain the Holy Grail are masters who have servants. The moment there is only one servant and one of 7 of you left standing, the Holy Grail shall manifest before you. So tell me, will you join this Holy Grail war? Priest looks straight down at me, demanding my decision. ... I'm at a loss for words. Earlier I had no reason to fight. Now I have a reason and will to fight. But can I truly say as much? Are you still unsure? Listen, you do not become a master just by saying it's what you want. Rin has been training as a mage for many years, but that never meant she was guaranteed to be a master. The only thing you can decide beforehand is whether to prepare yourself to be a master or not. Only mages can be selected as masters. If you're a mage, you should have already been prepared. False statement! However, if you are still lacking resolve, there is nothing to be done. But that makes both you and your mentor failures. A mage like you would only be a nuisance in battle, so you may as well get rid of your command spells right here, right now. He doesn't need to ask anything else. Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna save it here. And we're at a split choice here. I'm pretty sure I have a good idea as to how to get one of the great many endings here. Because there's like 30 endings. And this is definitively taking off from any of the paths. I can't go along with this. A gruesome battle to the death is wrong. What's wrong? Will you fight or not? You must decide and declare your intention here and now, Shiro Amiya. Yeah, he doesn't need to ask anymore. I'm not going to fight. I forfeit my rights as master. I look right into the priest's eyes as I answer. I see. That's a shame, but there's nothing I can do if that is the will of the master. As of now, Shiro Emi has forfeited his rights as a master and he is withdrawn from the Holy Grail War. Any objections, Rin? Why would the priest ask Tosaka and not me? I don't mind. If that's Emi's decision, there's nothing I can say to change it. I suppose seeing your regret is enough for me. Then we shall proceed. Shiro Emiya, your left arm, please. Fine, but what are you going to do? It will be over quickly. I'm simply removing the command spells on your hand. There are two factors that make a master. One is the contract formed with the servant, the other is the command spell on your hand. By losing both, you'll be freed from the Holy Grail War. The priest takes my left arm and just chops it off. This will hurt. Try to relax. His finger plunges into my arm. 5 fingers dig mercilessly inside my arm. My entire body jerks from the pain. I hear the sound of tearing flesh. This was not my mind playing tricks. Even if it was some sort of illusion, I can feel my arm being torn apart. My arm is unscathed, though. But somehow the priest's fingers are digging and tearing into my arm. It's as if his fingers became intangible and moved through my flesh. It is complete. The operation is successful. Huh? I look at my left arm. There's not a single wound, yet I feel a bruising pain throbbing along the whole arm. In exchange for that unpleasant feeling, the inscription on my hand changed shape. It changed shape, or there are fewer strokes. Yep, there are a total of 3 strokes in a command spell. Carrie took 2 of the strokes from you. Think of him as a spiritual doctor performing a kind of spiritual surgery, removing a lesion without hurting your physical body. A spiritual doctor? If I remember correctly, they're specialized mages who can treat someone by repairing their spiritual body. And I hear they perform magecraft that uses this type of curse by removing tumors without cutting the patient up, like magic. That's a surprise. Spiritual treatments are illegal and only used in uncivilized parts of the world. A man of the church shouldn't be practicing something like that. That was uncalled for. I was unfit to be a priest the moment I acquired the ability to perform magecraft. As such, my preferred type of magecraft hardly matters, given that having the choice at all is what made me unfit to be a priest. It matters not whether I perform expert or basic magecraft. This is the one and only thing I'm good at. I trained in many types of magecraft, but this was the only one that stuck. My magecraft specializes in opening wounds, which may be interpreted as both good and bad. I do have to admit I'm inferior to my pupil over there in all other disciplines of magecraft thanks to that. Good or bad? Of course it's good. There aren't many spiritual doctors as skilled as you in the association, and there's only a handful who can skillfully mend spirits and handle sacraments as well as you in the church. Excuse me. Who knows, this may be a superior method of treatment, but the fact of the matter is that it still relies on physical contact with a body. It is far from the miracle of touching the soul itself, which is proof of one's existence, independent of the flesh. Either way, the extraction of the command spells is complete. The rest is up to you, Shiro Emiya. You must use your final command spell and sever your contract with your servant. What? Sever my contract with my servant? That's right. You need to request to dissolve your contract with Saber, who's waiting outside. Saber will likely refuse, which is why Kiri left you with a command spell to force her to agree. There you have it. You will use up your command spell and sever your contract with the servant, ultimately declaring to the other masters that you are harmless. And with that, you'll be free. No sensible master would bother to attack a powerless master at that point. By relinquishing this power you never expected to gain, you will reclaim your wonderful, peaceful life. For like a couple days until Shinji, activates blood for Andromeda, drains the school, and you kind of just probably die. Unilaterally dissolving my contract with Saber. I am basically betraying her. Even if it was by chance, I summoned her, and she protected me. Did I make a mistake? I can't agree to let myself be a part of something where masters try to kill each other. I don't agree, but what if I can't turn a blind eye to it either? What are you doing? You need no incantation to activate the command spell. You simply have to focus your thoughts on the command spell and order your servant. Or either tell Saber directly, or you can simply cut your contract right here. It's your choice. No. My mind is made up. I can't turn back now, and the priest probably wouldn't let me. I'll go and talk to Saber. I won't be a master anymore after this, right? Directly to Saber. That's... Yes, I guarantee it. Go and say goodbye to your servant. Afterward, I will welcome you into the church for protection. Not sure how serious he is, but the priest says he'll welcome me. I have no intention of being under his care, though. All I'm going to do is forfeit my claim as a master. Absolutely refuse to receive any help from him after that. I refuse. I don't want your protection. After I talk to Saber and use my last command spell, I'm going home. That'll be it. I'll never see you again. Very well. Yes, we will certainly never see one another again. Goodbye, Shiro Emiya. This is the path you choose, so take pride in it. He doesn't need to tell me that. I turn and leave the church. Rin is disappointed. And my headphones are dying. I step outside the church. She's there, waiting in the stone-paved square, beneath the clear sky. Have you finished your conversation, Master? Yeah, I learned what the Holy Grail War was all about. And with that in mind, I made a decision. Saber, I'm going to resign as a master. Saber's expression doesn't change. Those green eyes regard me knowingly as if my decision was the most natural thing in the world. Does that mean you'll be nullifying your contract with me? Yeah, I'm not fit to be a master. I need to be better off forming a contract with a more capable master rather than sticking around with a fledgling like me. Yes, if I seek to improve my chances, I should form a contract with another master. Archer's Mage should be able to draw up my full potential. Yeah, then you agree to sever our contract? I'm going to use my command spell to dissolve the contract, and you'll be free, Saber. Shiro, I will ask you only once. Is your mind made up about abandoning your role as a master? Yeah, I have no intention of killing anyone. I say that as I look straight at Saber. At that moment, Saber's raincoat sways. Oh. I stare dumbfounded directly into death itself. In the brief moment I blink, Saber has closed this distance between us. She sweeps my legs from beneath me, I slam hard into the ground. Pain spikes through my leg after a brief delay. There's no blood, my legs are still intact. It's a relief I still have legs. Thankfully, she only struck my legs with a metal rod. My bones are cracked and my legs hurt like it's been shattered to 1,000 pieces, but it's better than having both my legs cut off. A mage who is no longer a master will die at their servant's hands. No matter how inexperienced you are, you summon me, and you have the power to keep me in this world. A servant requires a master. If you are to sever the contract, I will kill you and take your body, your magic circuits. Do you still want to relinquish your role as a master? I try to ignore the plane and focus all my concentration into looking up at Saber. I sense no hostility or murderous intent from Saber. As natural as breathing, Saber will kill me without remorse or regret simply to remain in this world. Even so, that's right, even if I changed my mind right now, I wouldn't do it. And it's not just because I only have one command spell left. I want nothing to do with this war. I disavow my position as a master. Having a master like me will only end in your defeat. I was defeated. If I refuse to fight once, so I'll certainly do the same a second time. Every time I find myself in that position, I regret not fighting. I'll regret fighting. Me being a master would put not only me, but Saber, in jeopardy. You have no objection to me killing you here. I cannot become a spirit, as I cannot take in your spirit. Yours will be a painful debt. Are you death? Are you willing to accept that? The hell, I'm not willing to fight, but I'm even less willing to just be killed. I'm going to resist. I'm going to try to flee no matter how futile that might be. I stack myself up and glare back at Saber, refusing to let her overwhelm me. And then... Very well. Use your command spell. It is your decision. I have no right to intervene. Do not worry. I simply failed to build a sufficient trust with my master this time. If you sever our contract using your command spell, I'll be free. This body will last roughly 2 hours, but it's simply a matter of finding a new master in that time. So clears this all out, matter-of-factly. Inspired by her resolve, I concentrate my thoughts on the command spell in my left hand to break my contract with Saber. Now you'll be free. Our alliance is brief, but your magical energy was pleasant to me. I shall never see you again, but I pray you survive this battle. The silver armor moves away. I realize that I have the urge to call out to her, but I smother it before I embarrass myself. I have no right to call out to her. She didn't blame me for arbitrarily severing our contract, and was concerned for my safety until the very end. And since I pushed her hand away and stepped down from the Holy Grail War, I'm in no position to call out to her. Guess his legs yield. The moonlit night is silent. It may be past midnight, but the town seems excessively silent. It's eerie, honestly. Eerie. Yes, that does seem to describe the mood. Why did the town turn out like this? It's obvious. It's the Holy Grail War. The 6 mages in this town engaging in secret battles are the ones sucking the life from that town. My chest hurts. My chest where Lancer stabbed me hours ago aches. I should get home. Nothing good will come of me going back to the church now. I try to fight down the pain in my chest as I walk home. I'll think about what I should do once I get home. Once I get home, I can take a bath and clear my head. Yeah, that'll help me calm down. And yet... I'll think about what I should do when I get home. That thought in itself was a mistake. He's never going to make it home, is he? Like a bad dream, I see that there is no path ahead. So you're all alone right now, Oni-chan, brother. I raise my head toward the sound of a girl speaking in a hushed voice. The blue moon hangs overhead. Uh-oh. Staying at the top of the hill that leads back to my house. I see a girl in a strange figure. And then I'm not sure. There is no time to see, no movement to exchange words, or even a chance for me to run away. The strange figure, a dark giant, swings his weapon. The blow creates such overpressure that it takes... It flies off. What flies? From the base? The hill behind me is stained red, wet as if a rainstorm just passed by, but the ruined, torn part of my body remains pink. Blood slowly oozes out. Agony and terror creep over me. I don't feel like playing tag, so just squish him. I tumble. I'm kneeling forward, but my knees are bent in the wrong direction. They're bent forward, the legs are bent at right angles where my knees used to be. My mind can't keep up. The mind-searing agony makes it impossible to keep up with what's happening. Berserker. I'm sure I heard that, which means this monster in front of me. You have really good manners, brother. I know what you're doing. You're sitting in a kaishaku style, an assisted suicide position. My grandfather said Japanese people were well-behaved people who always sit up straight as they wait to be killed. My consciousness begins to fade. The girl's innocent voice seems out of place in this situation. I look up. I can't breathe. Part of my chest is simply missing, leaving a gaping hole through me. I fall backward onto the ground. Both of my legs are folded like a caterpillar treads. They're broken and won't move. I use my one working arm to grasp at the asphalt and drag myself away. Oh, you can still move. What a shame. You can't run away now. If you manage to escape, it's pointless. Even if you manage to get away from me, you'll be dead in a few seconds. My body feels light. I've lost over half my blood. It's astonishing that I'm still conscious. My brain is starved for oxygen, and it should have stopped functioning long ago. But don't worry, it'd be no fun if you died that easily, so I'm going to give you a little hand. No matter how broken and in pain you are, you're going to stay conscious until we've crushed your head. That's why you're going to keep on writhing like a little bug. Okay, this is an ending? I feel myself being crushed. Whatever that weapon is, it crushes me like a hydraulic press. It lines my entire body like a sheet of paper. I can't die. The only blood I have left in my head. My body has ceased to function and my nerves have already accepted death, waiting to be relieved from the pain, yet somehow I cling to consciousness. My throat whistles. The sound echoes in my head. My mind is a muddled mess. I just want to escape this pain. I'm not master anymore. I appeal to the girl as if begging for help. A moment of hope. The girl gasps as if surprised. So? She smiles like an angel as she says that. All rationality abandons me. I'm not going to get away from this. I feel then down in my soul that I'm going to die here. Maybe you're small enough that I can pick you up now. Then I'll invite you to my castle. I have lots and lots of tools in my castle, so we can take our time and continue this there. No matter how much I'm hurt, my consciousness just won't die. Because it doesn't die, I numb my psyche. I don't know how much longer my head is going to remain intact, but I've already lost all hope. Okay. Ilya's a monster! Tiger Dojo is a lighthearted segment. Players who want to complete the game on their own or avoid out-of-character situations should proceed with caution. Beyond here lies the Tiger Dojo. Would you like to seek advice? Sure! Taiga! Hello? Is everyone doing good? Hey, it's traditional text for a visual novel! Good players should only play an hour game per day. Anyway, this is Tiger Dojo, your helpful segment that deals punishing blows to those who die pathetically while also solving all your problems. Just like that. Anyway, this whole segment does seem to be a complete 180 from the rest of the game, so what's the point? Answer disciple number 1. Ilya. Yes, ma'am. The dojo is behind-the-scenes segment to help that dimwit Shiro. That means that this is a pillar of support. Fate. Maybe no exaggeration that this is the main story of Fate. Marvelous. Bravo. Avocado. Very good. Anyway, you may have realized this by now, but this dojo itself is Fate's very core. Don't you get tricked by those fake heroines acting all high and mighty in the main story. If you see any choice that seems even a little suspicious, don't hesitate to choose that one. Anyway, this time, Shiro. Oh man, he got squished really good. Who does that kind of thing? Must be a real jerk. What do you think about that, my disciple? I don't see a problem. That's clearly a cute, hip way for someone to express a twisted kind of love. Oh, Ilya. Wrong. Ouch, my mistake. Anyway, this time around, the hopeless Shiro met his end because he ticked off a certain heroine. Exactly. He shamelessly broke the honorable samurai spirit by showing his back to the enemy. He committed a literal seppuku, a suicide by disembowelment. So from now on, make sure you choose lots of cowardly choices. You'll have no trouble dying again. But you know, this is a Q&A segment by name, so I suppose I need to listen to your problems. Disciple number 1, what is the appropriate countermeasure for this? Ma'am, yes ma'am. You need to go back to the branching choices and choose the other one. Very good. Unexpected deaths like this happen all the time, so saving right before you make a selection should be standard practice. Oh, I already know that. I've played visual novels before. That's it for this time. I'll see you at the next practice. Yep, see ya. We entered the Tiger Dojo. Okay, I'm gonna say no, because I did save. And I'm curious here. So, press any button. Gallery. Show me the flowchart first. I want to see... It did record that. And it literally shows just a straight dead end. Interesting. Okay. Ending. And, okay, so that's a tiger stamp. So we need to, so there's 40 tiger stamps. So there's 40 bad ends. And 5 main endings. Okay. I'm also curious. Is there anything involving what just happened? Oh, no, come on, down. No, so there's no dedicated cutscene to what happened, but I could cheat. I could check out that bad ending again, it seems. But we're gonna now load. Ah, auto-saved at the dojo. But if we load from here now... Okay, so it is showing up green to say that we've already chosen it, so we will fight instead of choosing to destroy the seal. I'm not going to run away. To be honest, all this Holy Grail War and Master stuff doesn't feel real to me. But if my own choices are to fight or run, I'll never run away. Even if the priest told me that I should be prepared if I'm a mage. That's why I need to decide. Shiro Emiya is a mage, even if not a full-fledged one. I've always admired Kiritsugu Emiya, and I decided to follow in his footsteps to be a champion of justice. So I need to. I will fight as a master. If you're telling me that the cause of the fire 10 years ago was the Holy Grail War, then I can't let something like that happen again. The priest gives me a satisfied smile as if he likes my answer. I take a deep breath. I'm done wavering. A man has said he's going to fight. The only thing to do from now on is move forward. Head held high so I can live up to that. Then I shall acknowledge you as Saber's master. As of this moment, the Holy Grail War has been accepted. From here on, until only one master remains, magecraft battles are permitted. Each participant shall put their full efforts into competition, in accordance with their own principles. The priest's voice echoes heavily through the chapel. The declaration is utterly meaningless. Only Tosaka and I are here to hear it anyway. He just rang a metaphorical bell to kick things off as a formality, I guess. Then that's that. Before I go home, care to answer a question, Kirei? I don't mind. This may be the final one, so I shall try to answer as much as I can. Then no holds barred. Since you're the overseer, you probably have information on the other masters. I'm following the association rules, so you should be able to disclose that to me. Hey, J6, welcome to the stream. How be things, how be things. We just got literally crushed by Ilya and Berserker, and Shiro's severed head was taken to her castle to be tortured some more. Because Ilya's nice. You just woke up. Well, that's good. I'm glad you woke up because that means you've been sleeping. And you know I'm a big proponent of everybody getting their sleep. Well, I'm not sure what to do. I really want to tell you, but I actually do not know the details. What I do know is that there aren't many legitimate mages this time around. As is the case with Shiro Emiya, I only know 2 masters. Or rather, with the inclusion of Shiro Emiya, 3. Is that so? But you at least know the order of the servants were summoned in. You are the overseer. Well, the first was Berserker, Sagmox Caster. There was not much difference after that. Archer was summoned a few days back, while Saber was summoned a few hours ago. You literally only listed half the servants there, Kirei. You did not mention Rider, you did not mention Lancer, and you did not mention Assassin. Jeez, Kirei. I see. Then that means the Holy Grail War has officially started. Rin, until the Holy Grail War concludes, you are not permitted to set foot in this church. The only time you will be allowed to would be if I lost my servant and asked for a sanctuary, right? Otherwise, we'll get penalized if we seek your help. How can he penalize you? You have a servant. Like, in universe, how can you think he can punish you? Seriously, Rin. Seriously, in universe, how do you think? You gave up on hunting for the Raichu? Never give up. Never surrender, J6. Just spend another week doing it. I'm just kidding. But, 5 boxes of shiny Raichus, huh? Damn. That's impressive. Correct. You're likely to win, but the church would not simply ignore any marks against you. They will not hesitate to take the Holy Grail from you for whatever asinine reason. That'd be the worst possible outcome for me. I see. That sucks. You're such a freaking fraud of a priest. Man from the church siding with the Mage Association. I simply serve God. I do not serve the church. Listen to you? This is why you're a fraud. Tosaka turns her back to the priest. Without saying goodbye, she makes her way toward the exit. Is that okay to do, Tosaka? Isn't he our senior? Shouldn't you? You wanted to play, so you have to update the game. That makes sense. And because they can detect if you're running a jailbroken Switch, can't they? So you can't jailbreak it to save the previous version of the game. Shouldn't she have a little more to say than that? It's fine. I'm actually relieved that I can sever ties with him once and for all. You should get out of here, too. You don't have any more business here. Tosaka cuts through the chapel without stopping and leaves the church. I sigh and followed Tosaka. But then I sense something and turn around. I don't know when he caught up, but the priest is right behind me, looking down at me. What? You got something else to say to me? Talking big, but I take a step back. That's Shiro Emi in a nutshell. He talks big, but he falls under pressure. The priest scares the hell out of me. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just rubs me the wrong way. Whatever it is, I can't make myself like him. I'm going home if you've got nothing. I head to the exit, trying to escape his stare. But at that moment... Rejoice, my boy. Your wish will finally come true. The priest speaks like he's some kind of divine oracle. Those words, aren't they a reflection of my true feelings? Shiro Emiya's true intentions that I wasn't even aware of. What are you saying? I'm sure you know already. Without an evil to fight, your wish will never be granted. Even if you don't want to admit it, a hero of justice requires a villain to defeat. Everything around me seems to go dark. The priest says Shiro Emiya's greatest wish and its ugliest wish are two sides of the same coin. That's right, my wish to protect something means that I'm also wishing for something to protect people from. You know, thinking about that out loud, that is kind of a real messed up sentiment. He wants to be a hero, which does also mean he wants there to be something for him to be a hero to be for. So he wants there to be a problem that people require a hero to help them from, so he can be that hero. Man, Shiro really is messed up in the head. I would never wish for something like that. I don't even remember ever desiring that. Wish is so unstable. It just means that what I'm aspiring to is contradictory. Yet the priest brings it up, as if to say, good thing you have an enemy now. You needn't sugarcoat it. Your conflict is only natural for a human being. I try to shake off the priest's words and head outside. Farewell, Shiro Emiya. This will be my final warning. Be careful on your way back home. Yeah, I already know I've got a murder loli waiting for me with her giant, overprotective pseudo-father figure. The world as you know it is about to change. You will kill or be killed, for you are a master now. As soon as I leave, the weight on my shoulders seems to lift. It might be because I'm away from the priest, but it might also be because I see Tosaka conspicuous in her uniform. And the blonde girl in the raincoat. Slightly mismatched sight of these two standing together relieves whatever pressure I felt. ... Saber is still silent. She looks at me and seems to want to know what I decided. Let's go. We're going in the same direction until we reach town. Tosaka starts walking, her pace brisk. Saber and I follow suit, and the three of us leave the church grounds. We walk down the hill. We hadn't talked much on the way here, but there was even less conversation on the way back. Even someone as dull as me knows why. After our visit to the church, I accepted my position as a master. That must be why Tosaka is keeping our distance. I get it, but I don't like the idea of seeing Tosaka in that light. Tosaka, how's your servant? Oh, if you're wondering, Archer's fine. The injury he sustained from Saber won't be easy to heal, so he won't materialize for a while, though. Does that mean he isn't by your side? Nope, he's cooped up in my house. He'd be at a disadvantage if he was ambushed by other servants, so I'm having him prepare to fight by recuperating somewhere safe. I see. Unlike my house, I'm sure Tosaka's house is well fortified against enemies. Mage's home is like a fortress. There's not much chance of defeating them there, which means enemies tend to try not attacking them at home. The battlefield around our house just notifies us of intruders, but even having them makes a big difference. By the way, Tosaka, priest mentioned he was the overseer of the Holy Grail War. Does that mean he knows who your servant is? He shouldn't know. I've never told him. I see. You guys seem to get along, so I thought you had. Oh, Shiro, they do not get along. Amiya, I'm going to give you a little advice. Never tell anybody your servant's identity. No matter how much you trust the other person, you should keep that quiet. Otherwise, you'll end up dropping out early. What do you mean, Saber's identity? I'm talking about which hero your servant is. No matter how strong they are, revealing their strength to others would just lead to a knife in the back. Just ask Saber her true name later. You'll understand when you learn about her. Actually, it might be better if she just doesn't tell you because you're... You know... Why not? You can't keep secrets. You might have the best chance at keeping a secret if you just don't know. Who do you think I am? I can at least follow a strategy like that. Are you sure? Does that mean there's something you're hiding from me? Something I'm hiding from you? Well... I feel a hot blush on my cheeks as she looks at me. I shouldn't feel guilty, but I wonder if secretly idolizing even her counts in this context. Excuse me. See? I don't know what it is, but your face tells me you're hiding something, and that's why you're not fit for this. There's plenty of other good things about you, so stop thinking of silly tactics like these. Then what about you? If you're mum about your servant even to that priest, does that mean you don't trust him? Kirei, of course not. I'm not naive enough to trust him. He's a big hypocrite who switched sides from the church to the Mage Association. Yet he still has a seat at the church. He'd spill it to the other masters the second he felt like it. Tosaka huffs, obviously annoyed. I guess Tosaka really doesn't trust that priest. A little relieved, but at the same time her tone of voice also conveys a sort of closeness with the priest. We cross the bridge. There's nothing else to talk about. Our frosty white breath hangs in the winter air. The faint sound of flowing water bubbles up from beneath the bridge, or we walk in the streetlight's illumination. All those small details etch themselves onto my memory. Oddly, I don't think to look at Tosaka's face. I feel like it's more of a rarity to be walking beside her than this does to see her face. Me, Tosaka, and the girl called Saber, about whom I know nothing. The three of us, without doing anything particular, walk back to our homes. We're reaching the intersection. It's where we have to separate, as our homes are in opposite directions. We should split up here. I've done my duty, and things would get complicated if we stuck together any longer. We should part ways amicably, and tomorrow we'll become enemies. I think she's trying to bring closure to our ambiguous relationship. So do you mean tomorrow, since it's past 1 a.m., do you mean tomorrow is in Monday, or when morning breaks? Right, we kind of need to clarify here. Tosaka starts talking, but suddenly cuts off. Then I realize something. She didn't explain the rules to me out of obligation. She was only trying to help me as I knew absolutely nothing, to make things fair for me. And that's why the moment things have been explained, everything goes back to normal. All that's left is for us to fight each other as masters. But that would make her last words to me strange. Tosaka must have meant it would be hard to fight if she feels empathy for me. For Tosaka, everything that happened tonight was unnecessary. Things would get complicated if we stuck together any longer. If that's how she feels, she shouldn't have gotten involved with me to begin with. She's smart enough to know that. But she helped me, even knowing it wouldn't benefit her in any way. That's how I know she had no ulterior motive for doing what she did tonight. She did it purely out of the kindness of her heart. Tosaka is really different now that than she usually is at school. She's harsh and unfriendly at school, and that's putting it mildly. But seeing her right now, I want to ask her why the hell she acts the way she does at school. Honestly, the difference is on the level of fraud. But either way, Rin Tosaka is also exactly what everyone thinks she is. You know, you're a good person, Tosaka. Where did that come from? Flattery won't make me go easy on you. I know that. She had to tell me it would be a pain to be empathetic because she isn't going to go easy on me. I know, but I would rather not be enemies with you because I like people like you. What? I hear Tosaka's house is in the residential district with all the western houses, in the opposite direction of my house. She took care of me up till now, so I'd like to walk her home. Anyway, don't forget to run to that church the moment your servant is killed. You'll at least live if you do that. I'm not sure about that, but I'll still take your advice. Anyway, I don't think that will happen since I'm likely to die before Saber. I've calmly assessed the situation. Tosaka's reaction is once again puzzling. After that weary sigh, she glances at Saber. Fine, I won't warn you anymore. At this point, it would really just be an act of empathy. Just be careful. Saber may be strong, but it's all over if you, the master, wind up dead. She turns around and starts walking. And yet, she stops dead in her tracks as if she's seen a ghost. The moment I call out to her, a stinging pain shoots through my left hand. Are you two done chatting? A new scene! A young voice echoes in the night. The sing-song tone comes unmistakably from a young girl. My eyes are drawn to the top of the hill. I hadn't noticed the clouds parting. Now the brilliant moon illuminates the sky. And there... a shadow looms. It's a strange shape that seems out of place in the darkened town. I'm not familiar with the word Tosaka whispers. I don't even need to ask. It's definitely a servant. It gives off an overwhelming aura of death that surpasses even the fire from 10 years ago. Good evening, brother. This is the second time we've met. The girl smiles. Her innocence sends a chill up my spine. No, the chill goes deeper than that. It's not just my body. Even my mind freezes. That thing, is a monster. I'm not even looking into its eyes, but its intimidating presence paralyzed me. You know, something I've always wanted to know. What is with the spikes on Berserker's arms? They're not attached to his wristbands. Does he just have bones growing out of his forearms? My instinct tells me I'm dead the instant I move. Feels like someone pressed a knife against my exposed stomach. Crap, he's definitely in a different league. All I'm managing to do is stand there paralyzed. Tosaka is composed enough to brace herself. Even that seems futile. I can only see her back, but I still sense her despair. Oh, your servant's resting. That's no fun. I thought I would get rid of two at once. The young girl seems displeased as she stands at the top of the hill looking down on us. This is even worse. That girl knows what Tosaka's servant is not here. Then... the girl bows gracefully, which seems wildly out of place given the current mood. Very nice to meet you, Rin. My name is Ilya. Perhaps you might recognize the name Ilias Vale von Einsburn better. Tosaka trembles slightly, seeming to recognize the name. The girl smiles, seemingly delighted by Tosaka's reaction. Then here we go. Kill them, Berserker! In a sing-song voice, the girl orders the monstrosity behind her. The giant jumps. In a single leap, the Berserker sails all the way from the top of the hill to its bottom where we stand. Shiro, get back. Saber surges forward. Her raincoat flutters off her shoulders, blocking my view for a moment. Saber runs towards where Berserker is about to land. Berserker lands, kicking up a small torrent of air in his wake. The two meet almost simultaneously. The very air shakes. Saber stomps Berserker's rock-like sword with her invisible sword. Saber's mouth twists as she strains. And then... Berserker's giant sword moves in a flash, creating a whirlwind. Thunder. The clash of swords almost tearing the air ends in Saber's defeat. I hear something skidding. Saber blocks Berserker's giant sword with her own, but the impact pushes her backwards. Saber buckles. The copper-skinned servant follows her. I'd say gray-skinned. The monster swings its giant sword again and again as if it knows how to do nothing else. Saber continues to block it with her sword, unable to dodge the strikes. Saber's sword being invisible doesn't matter. She needs to put all her strength into blocking his attacks or she's dead for sure. She's left with no choice but to remain on the defensive. The only chance she has of winning is to find an opportunity to strike when Berserker attacks. And yet, that's only if Berserker leaves her an opening. His massive black rock sword moves like a raging storm. He's enormous. Despite his size and unwieldy weapon, Berserker is faster than Saber. His unrelenting attacks just smash whatever's in his way. That's all. But it's enough to be effective. As long as he retains his overwhelming speed and power, he doesn't really need technique. He was devised technology to compensate for their own weakness. That giant, that monster, he has no weakness. Run. It's the only thing I can manage to say. My body is completely frozen. That thing cannot be beaten. Saber's going to die. That's why she needs to run. It'd be easy if it was just her that needed to flee. Of course, she knows that perfectly well. Oh, that's not good. My body may be paralyzed, but my mind is still working. The raging storm of death simply won't let up. Saber retreats, unable to block it all. And then the final unblockable blow comes. Ruined landscape. Saber hangs in the air. Twisting her body impossibly, Saber manages to defend against Berserker's titanic swing. It's all she can do to defend herself from the fatal blow. But because she can't completely brace against the giant's tremendous swing, his attack sends her flying. After sailing in a wide arc, she falls to the ground. Just before her back hits the ground, Saber turns in midair and lands on her feet. She manages to compose herself, but crimson blood stains her chest. I'm such an idiot. I've completely forgotten something crucial. I don't know how many times servants can fight in a day, but this is Saber's third battle. On top of that, Saber still hasn't healed from the wound Lancer inflicted on her chest earlier. Saber shifts her guard to protect her chest. Berserker moves in like a violent wind, striking at Saber while she's hampered by her wound. His blows rain down on her back. I don't know what kind of magecraft Tosaka used, but something burst against Berserker's body. From the amount of magical energy I feel, the impact must have been equivalent to a large caliber pistol. Even that is meaningless. It barely even scratches him. He isn't nullifying magical energy like what Saber does. The attack just doesn't affect him. What? This guy's ridiculously durable. Despite that, Tosaka continues to cast her spell. Berserker just ignores Tosaka's spells and charges at Saber. Attack, Ilya! Saber painfully lifts her head. She readies her sword, intent on continuing the fight. The sight of her in so much pain gets me moving again. No. Run, Saber. I yell with all my might. She hears me. But she braces herself to confront the enemy she can't possibly compete with. Berserker's attacks are relentless. Saber weakens with every block. The end is slowly creeping up on her. Where in that small frame of hers does such power come from? Saber doesn't retreat. She endures the great sword's furious attacks and tries to push Berserker back with sheer vigor. She has no chance of winning. Even though she knows her demise is inevitable, she holds her ground adamantly. Maybe it sensed something from her. That's a face. The monster, silent until now, roars. Even more ruined! Its attacks are impossible to block. Its attacks rain down on her through her defense. Though her defense is flawless, one strike finally sends her flying. It's the sound of something falling in the distance. Fresh blood stains her armor. Her small frame shouldn't be able to rise, and yet... No. She stands up without thinking. Her actions say that she needs to keep going or she'll be killed, or else I'll be killed. And she'll be killed. Her actions. I realize I made a foolish decision. Berserker stops after defeating Saber. It doesn't so much as look at Tosaka army, it just waits for its master's orders. You can't win. My Berserker is the greatest hero of Greece. What? Greatest hero of Greece? Don't tell me he's... That's right. That demon before you is Heracles. He's the most atrocious monster ever, and he's on a different level than any of the heroes you two could summon and handle. The girl calling herself Ilya narrows her eyes in joy. Her eyes express elation from the anticipation of finishing off her enemies. There's no need to ask who she's expecting to kill. Saber. Then what will I do? Am I going to fight that monster instead? I can't do that. Just getting near that thing without being prepared would be enough to stop my heart. I'm going to... Oh! Obviously save here. We'll make a new save. Even though this is kind of just a dead end, I don't know if I'll need to revisit it at some point or not. So if we go to flowchart now. Yep, split choices here. Okay, so I know in Unlimited Blade Works, at the very least, Unlimited Blade Works, Shiro does intervene in the fight with Saber here. I know he does. That's Unlimited Blade Works. But if we run away, Saber's dead anyway. So I feel like taking Tosaka and running is a dead end all the same. So we'll take it. I'm gonna get away from this place. Saber can't win against that monster. If I let her keep fighting, she's dead. Then... Tosaka, this way. Take Tosaka's hand and run. If that girl is really after us, she'll definitely give chase. That means Saber might live, and we might have a chance to survive if we can get somewhere there are people. Wait, we can't just turn our backs on him? What? She shakes me off. And then there's a flash. Tosaka moves in to protect my defenseless back. She takes the blow that had been meant for me. She turns her face toward me, and I see her pained expression. Red stains her lips, and she looks down almost curiously at the sword impaling her chest. What the hell was I thinking? Is that a question about her trying to protect me, or just taking Berserker's attack? Tosaka tilts her head, admitting that it had all been useless from the start. The church, go to Kire. Almost the instant she's spoken those words, Berserker hurls her body to the ground. My body reacts before I can think. The dark giant looms before me. As the monster throws Tosaka's body to the ground, I seize the opportunity to run away. Coward route! I flee desperately, like an animal jumping through a ring of fire. Oh, he's running away. Brother's so cute, thinking he can run away from Berserker. I run. Tosaka's words echo in my head. The church. I need to run up the hill and reach the church. I'll go to the church and ask Kotomene for help. I need to do that, or else Tosaka will die. And Saber will die. I won't be able to help either of them, and I'll die too. I just heard the sound of a sword swinging. Or rather, something moving to the air. I feel a blow to my back. But it's not a sword. The giant's dozer blade hands strike my back, sending me flying. Ah. You knucklehead. I told you not to kill him quickly. Can you not even do something as simple as that, you useless brute? If you disobey my orders again, I'll keep killing you until you're only left with on your very last life. He's alive? You threw him all that way, he's still alive. So you're alive, brother. You might not be able to use any matecraft, but I guess there was a reason you were chosen as a master. Fine, if you're not going to put up a fight like this, then there was no problem. There was no point in me coming to Japan. I can't move. Calling the state I'm in alive would be a sort of an overstatement. Goner would be closer to the mark. Nope, I'm not gonna let you die that easily. I need to hurt you more, and teach you how wonderful your life was up until this point. The silver-haired girl holds my head down. Cold, pale fingertips freeze my skull. I know somehow that I can't possibly go back to who I was before. I'm going to turn you into an ugly doll that won't be able to die. You're going to take Hiritsugu's place from now on. I muster the last bit of sense I have to hope Saber and Tosaka are safe. A fruitless hope. Well, that was a quicker bad end than the other bad end. So, once again, Shiro is going to be tortured by Ilya until one or the other gives out. Or until the end of the Grail War. Probably the Grail War. Taiga, the instructor... A segment of the game that sweeps your sorry dad ass back up and gets you back on your feet. A segment of everyone's dreams. Hi, I'm Ilya, and there's really no need for me to even be here, but I'm doing it as a favor for Taiga. Disciple number 1, your name here in this dojo is Disciple number 1. Ouch, I can't believe you blew me away. That phantasmic tiger bamboo sword is something to be reckoned with. A tiger bamboo sword has been added to the weapons dictionary. Did you just hear a weird sound? I didn't hear anything. Anyway, Taiga, what's today's theme? We're going to talk about bad ends today. Let me get right to the point. Always keep in mind that in Fate, letting your guard down leads only to defeat. There's no mercy in this game from anyone, so common sense says you should save before making a choice. After all, Shiro's life is like an intersection full of red lights. Yeah, Big Brother's so dense. I knew it. I need to protect him. Okay, I just gotta say, I love the dichotomy here. Yes, it's characters are acting out of character here, but the two bad ends so far have both been Ilya essentially saying, yeah, you're going to be tortured for the rest of your miserable existence. And here she is saying, man, Shiro is so dense, I need to protect him. I knew it all along. Just such a weird dichotomy. Ouch. I'm sure that bamboo sword really hurts. Please use something gentler. Denied. Kiddo who kills out of love needs to run 3 laps around the dojo. Now get going. What? I hate doing things that wear me out. Don't you want a tiger stamp? Fine, I'm going. Anyway, the cause of the death this time was because you stupidly believed you could run away from that sinister kiddo. When you meet her, you're either defeat her or get defeated. Excuse me. Being half-assed about it will get you killed, so be careful. There's a cat in the corner of the dojo. Step on its tail to drive it away. And don't call me Tiger. Okay, I drove the weird-looking cat away. Very good. Then that concludes our lesson for today. The story's just begun. Once you get through this exciting part, that your battles as a master will begin. Or not begin? Maybe. Which is it? Maybe the training segment continues just a little bit more. So, no, because I saved already, and I want to again see. I want to check a couple things here in the gallery. Yeah, I hear you, headphones. You're about to die. Okay, so there's those 3 images. Ilya with Berserker, and Saber sort of wounded there. And that's all in the Fate part. Prologue and others just going to have, like, still shots, it seems. Oh, that's new. Weapon. Weapon is a new thing. See if that led to a dead end. Weapon. Tiger Bamboo Sword. User Taiga Fujimura. Shinai, or bamboo swords, are normally used as practice tools instead of sealed katana or wooden bokuto. The Shinai was invented by the prominent Japanese swordsman Kami Izumi Nobutsuna, but setting aside the history lecture, a tiger sword is Fujini's favorite. She's been using it to seize the day for the last 5 years. Taiga put a tiger keychain on it, causing her to be disqualified from several official matches due to breach of etiquette. Apparently, the Kendo Club members were both disappointed and relieved she failed to achieve national fame just because of her gaudy sword. To this day, the Fujimura family keeps this baneful blade under lock and key, where it shall not rest until it sees blood spilled. That's kind of disconcerting. And yep, we have 2 tiger stamps. Cool. So, load. Load from here. We still got some time left before we need to call the stream, I think. I'm gonna help Saber. Run in and be a hero, Shiro! Woo! I refuse to abandon someone when they're down. Except for when we just kind of did. That's how I've always lived my life. And most importantly, I can't leave the girl who fought so hard to protect me. Okay, Berserker. She's going to regenerate, so take her out now. Berserker rumbles back into movement. I rush forward as fast as I can. I can't possibly do anything against that monster. But the least I can do is get Saber out of the way and save her from Berserker's attack. I fall. Why? I was going to shove Saber away from Berserker, then I'd figure out what to do afterwards, so why? Why? Why am I on the ground unable to breathe? Geez, Shiro, I don't know. Ilya just ordered Berserk to finish Saber off, and you intended to push Saber out of the way of the blade. Swing. This is truly one of the greatest mysteries of his time. I hear surprised voices. First the Saber's in front of me now, and there's Tosaka standing at a distance looking aghast. And then for some reason the girl calling herself Ilya stares down at me, dumbfounded. There's a gaping ragged hole in the middle of my body. I'm on the ground. On the asphalt there's only a little blood considering how big the wound is. I see some withered-looking branch things and some shattered stuff. And man, that looks painful. All those parts scattered around. Withered-looking branch things and some shattered stuff. He sees his intestines and shattered bones. Just scattered. I get it. How dumb am I? Oh, Shiro Emiya. I could list the ways. So I didn't make it. I could never push Saber away, so I was just her shield. And then that ungodly huge machete thing took a good chunk of my stomach. Can't believe I failed at a time like this. I tried my best to be the hero of justice, but I screwed it all up when it really mattered. Why? The silver-haired girl's face is blank as she speaks. After standing there dumbfounded, she just says, I've had enough. This is boring. She calls Berserker back without finishing Saber off. Rin, I'll kill you next time we meet. The girl leaves. After she disappears, I completely black out. I lose consciousness. I'm really dead this time. I somehow survived when Lancer killed me last time, but my luck's definitely run out. Avalon! There's no magecraft that could save a person who just lost half his body. What were you thinking? Don't you know I can't save you anymore? I hear a voice reprimanding me. It must be Tosaka. She sounds like she's really mad. I feel bad. But I had no choice. I'm not good at everything like her. All I have to work with is my body. That's why the only thing I could do was risk it all using my own body. Sure. New save. Oh, we completely missed a day. I think, at least, right? Is this the very, very next day? I'm gonna have to check when it gives me control here. Winter, 5 years ago. Okay, can't yet. Okay, can't yet. It was a beautiful moonlit night. I was just enjoying the sight with my father, Kiritsugu Amiya. Okay, yeah, I can. I was pressing the wrong button. Okay, a triple choice here. Okay, that's all being treated as the same day, even though some of this happened on this day. Okay. I was just enjoying the sight with my father, Kiritsugu Amiya. It was winter, but it wasn't very cold. On the veranda, it was just a little chilly, the perfect weather to watch the moon. Kiritsugu didn't go outside much anymore. He rarely went out, and he spent most of his time lounging around the house. Every time I recall this, I still feel regret. Why didn't I realize that he was acting the way any creature does when they know their time is almost up? When I was a boy, I wanted to be a champion of justice. He blurted it out, just out of nowhere. My father, who already seemed like a champion of justice in my eyes, said that as if he was reflecting on a memory. What do you mean, wanted to? So you gave up on it? I asked, unable to completely hide my disappointment. Kiritsugu smiled apologetically and looked up at the distant moon. Unfortunately, yes. You can only be a hero for so long. It gets harder to call yourself one as you grow up. I wish I'd found that out earlier. That made sense to me. I wasn't sure why, but if Kiritsugu said it, then it had to be true. Oh, well, that's too bad. Yes, it really is too bad. Kiritsugu nodded in agreement, so I just kind of blurted out something, as if it was the natural thing to say. Okay, if you can't do it, then I'll do it for you. You can't do anything because you're an adult, but I can. You can leave your dream to me, because I'll make it a reality. The bold promise made my father smile. His face said everything I needed to know. Kiritsugu made a long, contented sigh and whispered, "That's a relief." There, he closed his eyes, and so too, his life came to a close. He looked so peaceful, like he was going to wake up in the morning, so I didn't think much of it. Maybe it was because by then I was used to seeing death. On a winter night, the man I called my father looked up at the moon and entered a long sleep. The yard was dead silent, not so much as a single chirp from an insect. I still remember how fiercely my eyes blazed on that bright, clear night. I didn't cry, nor did I feel sad. But tears flowed down my cheek until the moon sank past the horizon. That happened in the winter, 5 years ago. I probably cried 10 years worth of tears in that time, so after that, there was nothing left. Fujini's dad took care of the funeral arrangements, and that's how I ended up living in the Emiya mansion, all alone. Kiritsugu's passing didn't change anything for me. I was set on becoming a man who champions justice and does what's right just like my father, so I didn't have time to sit around. That's right. I never talk about this, but I still remember it. 10 years ago, a man saved me from a fire. He picked up a burned, dying child and carried him out of hell, weeping with joy. I've admired him ever since. Nobody saved me. I couldn't save anyone. At the ruins of the fire, there was only the boy who was saved and the man who saved him. That's why I aspired to be like him. I wanted to become a hero of justice that saves people and doesn't let anyone die. That's what he wanted to be, and he passed his wish onto me before quietly letting the curtain fall. It's only natural for a child to follow in their father's footsteps. Shiro Amiya must become a hero of justice and save someone the same way that he was once saved. I swore to myself that I would do it. I vowed to fulfill the dream of the man I most admired. But honestly, I didn't know how. What did Kiritsugu mean by doing the right thing and championing justice? How can I grow up faster? Is there some magical way to make Kiritsugu's dream of making everyone happy come true? Seriously, what am I supposed to do when I become a master and I can't get the blonde girl with me out of my head? That's a bit random there, Shiro. I wake up in my room. Something tastes terrible. A steely tang of blood clouds my mouth. It pooled in my mouth while I slept, and every time I breathed, heavy metallic air filled my lungs. Blood doesn't taste that bad. Not sure why I feel this way. A violent urge to vomit makes me want to go wash my face in the restroom. Okay. I lift myself out of bed. Dizziness sets my head spinning. Feeling uneasy on my feet, I plant a hand on the wall. I try to move, but it only makes the nausea worse. No, it's more pain than nausea. My body feels sluggish, and my insides seem to churn whenever I move. I imagine this is about what it feels like if someone forced hot lead down my throat. Imagining that is making me feel like I'm gonna run a fever. I wipe the sweat from my forehead and hobble out of my room, leaning against the wall. Okay, I feel a little better. I wash my face and dry off my sweat-drenched body. For some reason, my abdomen is wrapped in bandages. I have no idea why, but I'll deal with it later. I'm hungry. Did I leave any extra food in the fridge? He's acting like he doesn't even remember what happened last night. Is he that head empty? My stomach feels like it's churning, but my body needs nourishment. Suck up the discomfort and keep walking, braced against the wall. The dizziness won't go away, and worst of all, my whole body feels dull. Ow, ow, ow. Keep moving forward, making pathetic noises along the way. What the hell did I do before He doesn't even... Oh, Shiro Emiya, you have such an empty head. Does he count as a himbo? I do remember training strenuously enough to make my entire body ache. I reached the living room. Sakura and Fujimi must be at school. There's no signs of breakfast, nor do I see any remnants of Fujimi wrecking the place. The living room's quiet, like a typical Sunday. Morning. Sorry I came in without asking, Emiya. Or not. Ren Tosaka is sitting on the floor by the table in the living room. She's so calm, like she owns this place. So much that I feel like the guest here. I have no idea what to say, so I plop down on a cushion, and then I take a deep breath. Tosaka, why are you... Stop. Shouldn't you apologize to me first? I can't move on from last night until you say you're sorry for what you did. Can't even finish asking why she's in my house. Tosaka's glare is all I need to know how angry she is. She seems a bit upset about something that happened last night, but what exactly... Wait. I remember now. Right, this isn't the time for me to be leisurely breathing in the morning air. I tried to help Saber and Berserker gutted me like a fish. Pfft. Oh, silly me, forgetting about being gutted like a fish. Oh, that Shiro. The nausea returns. A chill grips my entire body as I remember the feeling of having a gaping hole in my body. Wait, that's weird. Should have died instantly. That's weird. Why am I still here? Do you remember now? You did something damn stupid last night. I hope you regret it. She huffs critically. That kind of ticks me off. My brain, frozen since seeing Tosaka in my living room, finally grinds into action. What are you talking about? I had no choice. Well, it sure might seem like an idiotic move if you just look at the results, and I definitely meant for it to go better than it did. How could it have gone better, Shiro? So I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I return her glare, insisting that I'm not an idiot. Shiro, you're not going to win that argument. What? Why is she making such a show, sighing at me? If the master dies, the servant disappears too. Remember? I can't believe you actually tried to shield your own servant. Listen, if you die, then Saber's gone too. If you wanted to save Saber, you should have thought of another way to do it from a safe distance. Honestly, do you realize how pointless it is to risk your own life for your servants? I wasn't shielding her, I was just trying to get her out of there. I didn't think that would happen to me. I might die if I got near a monster like that, but that's beside the point. Fine, then you had the wrong idea. Tosaka only looks more irritated, like she knows exactly what I'm thinking. I'll be straight with you, Emiya. I didn't take you to the church so that you could win. I was just trying to give you a chance to survive because you literally don't know anything. It sounds like you still don't get it. A chance to survive. Yeah, I figured you wouldn't take any risks or really do much if you knew defeat meant death, but it looks like you're the kind of person to walk out at night, even in a situation like this. I thought that if I scared you straight, you wouldn't throw away your own life for someone else, and if you're lucky, you'd make it until the end. I see. That didn't cross my mind. But why are you upset? What does me dying have to do with you? It has everything to do with me, because you made me worry all night long. Tosaka's practically throwing a tantrum. But okay. Shiro is definitely a himbo, I think. It actually feels good to have someone worried about me. From her tone, it sounds like Tosaka was the one who took care of me. Is that so? Guess I owe you one, Tosaka. Thanks. I bow my head in appreciation and apology. As long as you understand, if you've learned your lesson, then use your head next time. I think if he used his head, he'd be dead for sure, because then his brain would be gutted instead of his stomach. Tosaka quickly turns away. She might still be edgy, but I feel like she's in a better mood. And we're done with what happened last night. Let's get down to it then. Do you want to talk business or talk about yesterday? Tosaka promised me matter-of-factly. Her straightforwardness takes me off guard, but now that I think about it, she must be here only because she has something to discuss. If she hadn't had something to discuss, she'd have gone home already. Tosaka's my enemy, so what could she have to talk about that would prompt her to stay in enemy territory? I'm curious to know what she's thinking, and I also want to know what else happened last night. I have to ask anyway, so... Oh. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Decision. So, according to the flowchart, this is a 3 paths branch. There's a heart symbol here, though, so that tells me that this might be a way to a route. Is the bad feeling a dead end, though? That is the question. Is I have a bad feeling a dead end? Or is it... I don't know. I don't know. I honestly have no idea where to go from here. I want to do the fate route, but I want to get all the endings, which means I want all the bad endings. I've got a save point here. I have a bad feeling I don't want to hear either of them. I mean, it's also possible that all of these things are just going to lead back into themselves. That seems redundant. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Something else to think about. The flowchart kind of does flow in the way you might... That's unexpected. So there's an alternate thing there. Based on the... That's right. Earlier choices can impact the future ones in different ways, because this we only had 3 options for, even though there's a 4-point choice. Oh, there's totally an optimal route to go here. If I choose the wrong thing, I'm going to be fricked. I might already be on the bad path. Okay, so I think a guaranteed bad end is anything that will result in Shiro dying. That's a guaranteed bad end. And that's pretty much Shiro acting out of character from how he would, so acting cowardly or anything like that. Or acting dumber than normal. But that would be anything that leads to an immediate bad end. We don't want... None of these choices right now tell me immediate bad end. They tell me impact of a choice later on down the line. That's what these 3 choices are telling me. I feel like this one might lead to a bad end in the future, perhaps, but I don't want to play hoping to reach a bad end, dead end, because if I play through with this option and it takes me like down a few paths and then I'm locked into a bad ending, I don't want that. I might already be locked into a bad ending, mind you, because of prior choices, but I have no idea. Okay. So, I'm not going to choose this one. Push comes to shove, I can always reload this save and come back to choose this. So it's between talking about yesterday and starting with the serious stuff. Tone of the conversation has been casual so far. Would Shiro bring up the serious stuff? It would probably be covered in the talk about yesterday. The situation is fairly relaxed right now. So bringing up the serious stuff might tense up the situation. And honestly, that might lead more to an Unlimited Blade Works route, if we talk about the serious things first. I'm gonna have to go with just yesterday. There's no point in talking until I understand my own situation. I'll need to understand where I am before I get to where I'm going. That's the basics for a journey. Let's start with what happened last night. That sounds like you're talking about serious stuff, honestly. Yeah, you should know what's going on first. Hey, looks like you're finally thinking straight. With a smug grin, Tosaka launches into a brief explanation of last night's events. Apparently, Berserker left right after I lost consciousness. Afterwards, my body started to heal on its own and was back to normal after a few minutes. I was still unconscious, so Tosaka brought me here, and the rest was as I remember it. Excuse me. What's important here is that you managed to survive on your own. I might have helped a bit, but it was your power that healed your wound. So don't get that twisted, okay? That's what it sounds like from the way you told it, so you aren't the one who healed me. No way. Can't revive someone on the verge of death. What was I supposed to do about your intestines scattered on the pavement? I don't really have an answer to that. So, out of curiosity, did his intestines just sort of detach as new ones regrew? And you just sort of burned his intestines that were just laying spilled on the ground? Or is there just... did they just sort of wind back up inside of him like some sort of sick Jack-in-the-Box in reverse? The world wants to know this. My stomach is back to normal, yes, but I'm honestly still dubious about what Tosaka said. I can't even use any healing magecraft, much less raise the dead. Which means it must be your servant. Either your servant is pretty powerful or something happened when you summoned them. I think it's both, actually, but you must be connected by some line. Line? You mean like some fated line that connects a familiar and its mage? Oh, so you do have some knowledge of familiars. Then this should be easy. It means your relationship with Saber is not just an ordinary master and familiar relationship. Saber can evidently regenerate too, so her power might be flowing into you. Normally, the mage abilities are shared with the familiar, but in your case, the familiar's abilities are helping the master. So it's like a river flowing upstream. That's a good way of putting it. Normally that wouldn't be possible, but a Saber's magical energy must be powerful enough to change the flow of the river. Otherwise, there's no chance she'd be able to go up against Berserker with a tiny frame of hers. That wouldn't normally be possible. Does that mean your relationship with Archer is normal mage and familiar relationship? That's right. He doesn't listen to a word I say, but that's our relationship. The connection between master and servant is like gas and an engine. We provide the energy for them to consume. Though I've read that a master once required pseudo-immortality by physically fusing with their servant. They wouldn't die as long as their servant doesn't die. Are you listening, Emiya? Did that happen with Giles in the last roar and his master? I can't recall. Yeah, I am. Then Tosaka, does that mean my body will heal from injuries even if I don't do anything about them? At the cost of your servant's magical energy. I don't know how it works, but it definitely has something to do with Saber being stuck in material form. I don't think you've learned any curses of natural regeneration. Of course not. My old man never taught me something that complicated. That's not what I mean. I'm saying I wouldn't have had to worry this much if it was true. Never mind. This doesn't concern you. What does she mean? I wonder why Tosaka's being so roundabout. Anyway, just don't do anything rash. You might have survived this time, but you won't live to tell the tale next time you get hurt like last night. It's probably the best you just ditch the notion that any small wounds will heal on their own. I know, Saber had to help me because I went and got myself hurt. I don't have any excuses for that. That's not the point, dummy. Let me be clear, it costs more than Saber's magical energy to heal your wounds. You're giving something up when it happens. Whether that's your life, your luck, or even your bank account, you can bet that kind of healing doesn't come cheap. Tosaka huffs once again. And I agree, but I don't think my bank account has anything to do with it. Of course it does. Using magecraft means you're pretty much throwing your money away. The more you use it, the more it drains your money. Otherwise, none of this would be acceptable, especially to me. Tosaka absolutely explodes with fury. It's odd, really. The more I talk to her, the more this Tosaka feels like the real one. And while the girl at school feels like an act. Though I guess I already noticed that yesterday. Well, putting the topic of money aside, I want to talk about something serious. Are you ready, Emiya? That's the main reason you're here, isn't it? Let's hear it. So we were going to get to the serious conversation. So it's very possible that both serious first and then talk about yesterday would lead to the same branch. And in fact, get a quick swig of water. Oh no, this improved... Okay, doing this improved the relationship with Rin, which means doing this might have decreased the relationship with Rin. That's not good necessarily. I don't know. I picked my choice, and I'm not going to backtrack until I've completed the Fate route, and then I'm going to just backtrack every single choice and choose the alternate route from the closest point and work our way down. It's amazing you're here, isn't it? Let's hear it. Then I'll be frank. What do you plan to do next? Tosaka asks the one question I hoped she wouldn't. Actually, that's not entirely true. It's not that I don't want her to ask so much as I haven't really thought of my answer yet. What am I going to do now? It's a question I want to ask. To be honest, I don't know. There's a competition for the Holy Grail, but I've never been in a battle between mages. For one thing, more than anything, I want to avoid killing. I'm not interested in something like the Holy Grail. I don't really know if I can risk my own life for something I don't want. I knew you'd say something like that. I'll have you know that your servant will kill you for saying that sort of thing. Kill me? Why? Because the servant also seeks the Holy Grail. One of the conditions for them allowing a master to summon them is getting a chance at the Holy Grail. The Grail is the servant's #1 priority. They'll obey the master if it gives them a chance at the Grail, and sometimes they'll even die for their masters. Try saying you don't want the Grail to your servant. You can't blame her if she calls you a traitor and cuts you down where you stand. What the hell? That doesn't sound right. Servants are the ones summoned by masters, right? Did you think servants would really serve humans for free? Whoever requires the Grail gets their wish granted, whether that's a master or their guardian servant. The servants have wishes of their own. That's why they respond to summons that would otherwise be, at best, unreasonable. Masters don't summon servants to help them get the Holy Grail. Servants answer the master's call to have a chance at the Holy Grail. The servants have wishes too. So that means Saber also has a wish she wants granted by the Holy Grail. That's why servants will go out and eliminate other masters, even without being ordered to. Only one person can get the Holy Grail. They won't allow it to fall in the hands of anyone other than their own master. Unlike masters, servants don't have the power to take away command spells. The only way they can neutralize other masters is by killing them. Excuse me. So even if the master has no intention of fighting, conflict is inevitable. Masters attacked by a servant need to fight them off with their own servant. Kirai told you plenty of times about how that is at the heart of the Holy Grail War. Yeah, he told me enough of that last night. But that means that servants must fight and kill each other. I thought it would have been enough as long as the masters made peace with each other and gave up the Holy Grail, but if servants answer the summons because they also seek the Holy Grail and will never give it up until they have it, then the battle between servants are really inevitable. But then, is the girl who fought so hard to protect me also here to fight, kill for, maybe even die, all for the Holy Grail? That's awful. I don't know exactly what a heroic spirit is, but Saber's human. I even saw her bleed yesterday. Oh, don't worry about that. Servants aren't mortal, so if they die, they'll just go back to where they came from. Heroic spirits are phenomena that can't die. Only masters can actually get killed when they lose a fight. No, I mean, even if their deaths are figurative, it doesn't change the fact that something which takes the form of a human dies in this world. Well, you have some hang-up with killing. You've got some nerve calling yourself a mage with morals like that. So do you, Rin. So do you. Tosaka's right. As a mage, death is never far. I understand that fact, and I have long since resigned myself to it. But I'm not strong enough to be the judge of when and where other people should live or die. Of course I do. I won't be party to some war where people murder each other. Oh really? So you're just going to sit and wait to be killed? You're going to just hand the victory over to some other master? That's not the point. All I have to do is stay alive until the end, right? I don't intend to kill anyone, but I'm also not going to hold back if I need to defend myself. Someone who shows up ready to kill others can't complain about getting killed. So you're going to play defense. You're just going to watch and see what the other masters do. Even if that thing from yesterday goes around killing everyone in town, you'll just ignore it. The thing from yesterday. Heracles. The twisted in him demon. It's strong enough to level a house with a single blow. If it sets its mind to it, I'm sure it could destroy all of Miyama overnight. To make matters worse, servants can turn into spirit form. Humans who lack the ability to sense the supernatural can't even see them. But as soon as a servant materializes, they can interact with the physical world. You could say they're the ultimate weapons. No matter technology or weaponry can affect a spiritual form. Our attacks won't work on them, but they can hurt us. It's depressingly one-sided arrangement. From a normal person's point of view, servants may as well be natural disasters. When people die to an invisible killer, those deaths would be treated as accidents or natural causes. What do you mean? Don't masters and servants only attack other masters? What do the people in town have to do with it? If only the world were so peaceful. If that was the case, then we wouldn't need Kiri to play referee. I should have mentioned this sooner, but servants are spirits. Their forms are complete, static, so they do not grow. False! But they still need magical energy as fuel. When they're provided with more magical energy, they're able to use more of their special abilities they had when they were alive. That's not unlike us mages, actually. Do you see what I'm getting at? Yeah, it's like repeatedly using magecraft. Magical energy is like gunpowder. The mage is the gun itself. Like how there are different guns, pistols, rifles, shotguns, mages all have a variety of abilities. To continue the metaphor, servants are like artillery cannons than firearms. They burn a huge amount of gunpowder to launch massive shells. That's right, but servants can't draw mana from the atmosphere like us. They generally run only on the magical energy within them. It's our job as masters to supplement that energy. Their power is limited by their own energy supply, plus whatever their masters give to them. That means a half-baked master like you has no chance against a more capable master, right? One very obvious solution to that hurdle is to have your servant acquire magical energy from other sources. Servants are spirits, so they can eat similar stuff for sustenance. Eating something similar? You mean other spiritual bodies, but what kind of spirits would they eat? Simple. Spirits of nature can take in power from nature itself. So do you think servants, who are human spirits, get power from? Oh. It really is an easy question. Just as we eat meat, human spirits like servants have to eat. Correct. To be fair, the magical energy supply from the master chosen by the Holy Grail should be enough in most cases. But shouldn't it be obvious they'd gain more energy by getting it from more than one person? Bluntly speaking, inferior masters have to feed other people to their servants. Servants can convert souls and primal human emotions into magical energy. If you want your servant to get stronger, that's the most efficient way. It's not rare for masters to sacrifice humans to their servants. Sacrifice? Are you saying there might be masters out there who go around killing people to make their servants stronger, if they're not choosy about their methods? Maybe, but I can't see a smart master doing something like that. Media. No matter how strong a servant is, they're still limited by energy capacity. They can't store any energy above a hard limit, so there's only so much they can benefit from mass murder. For one thing, the Association won't just turn a blind eye to someone going around murdering people, but more importantly, their masters will be able to figure out the servant's abilities and identity based on the victim's cause of death. That, and they'll work out who the other master's identity is, too. Concealing your identity in a Holy Grail war gives you a big advantage, so any normal master would be unwilling to use their servant. I get it. If you don't let anyone know you're a master, then the other masters won't attack you. Conversely, if the other masters know who you are, you're just asking to be ambushed. It stands to reason that no one would be reckless enough to let their servant attack civilians and risk getting exposed. That's a relief. As long as the master doesn't order it, servants shouldn't indiscriminately attack people. Probably not. They're supposed to be heroes after all. I don't think there are any heroes who'd attack innocent people. Though I can't say that for sure. Plenty of them became heroes through sheer violence. Tosaka just casually raises a truly terrifying point. That she sounds genuine about it rather than sarcastic or ironic might be a kind of reflection of her twisted nature. Okay, I need to check here. Okay, I have reached... We're getting off topic. I have reached the next point. It is about 2.5 hours in, so I'm going to call this stream here. We've made actually a fair bit of progress, I'd say. We were here, and we made it all the way over here. We somehow missed that branch. Don't know how. We'll figure it out eventually. And we got a positive interaction with Tosaka by talking to her about by not turning things serious, this probably would be a neutral reaction, and this a negative reaction. I have no idea at all how it will impact things later on, but we are going with what we go with. So, one more thing I want to actually check. Are we just, like, on the main branch? So, yeah, it doesn't look like we're really branching up too high. It always seems to lean right back into this middle point. Interesting. Anyways, I've been Soulrack Dragon. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. If you have, leave me some feedback in whichever way you so see fit. If you want to check out more by me, be sure to check out my channel here on Twitch or YouTube. Same name, same games. There is plenty of content for all to enjoy. Once again, thank you for coming out. Hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic evening, everybody.